Hi there, it's Friday night here at the MODUS Super Series, and it's time to fill the final 3 places at our grand final tomorrow on Champions Week. Well, this afternoon, a few players were thrown out, and there was a cruel ending for one player in particular. We're going to show you what happened in Group C. The very last moment of the day was the most significant, as an already qualified eliminator, Justin Hood, punished Steve West for missing match darts that would have seen him qualify and ended his hopes in the cruelest fashion. Jelle Klassen also departed, but put in a spirited showing and will reflect on a slow start yesterday. There was to be no heroics from Superman this time, however. Just one win today means Matt Clark fails to make finals night for the first time ever. West won't be there either, despite being in the top 2 until the very final fixtures this afternoon. Instead, it will be Owen Bates. The 20-year-old made the big move up the table to sneak in at the death with some excellent high scoring and some decent finishing like this. He'd earlier missed 12 darts to defeat Jacob Taylor, who dodged plenty of bullets but fired a few too, and went on to win the group. Chris Mason was watching the action with me. It was a really gripping, dramatic day's darts, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was incredible. We sort of picked up on it earlier with Jacob Taylor nicking all those games 4-3 and dodging those 12 darts, which have actually changed the whole look of that group, and it would have been Steve West in a position where he wouldn't have needed to win that final game against Justin Hood. But in one way, pleased for Owen Bates, gutted for Steve West, but the one example is the integrity of this tournament. Justin Hood had nothing to play for, but gave it absolutely everything.
He did. Final confirmation of the table here. And Steve West, I mean, he was in those top 2 positions right from the first start yesterday. You've got to feel for him. Yeah,
absolutely. He was one of our best players in the group, and you know, one of those odd defeats where it was 4-3 and he missed match darts, as he did against Justin Hood in the final game of the day. Ultimately, he paid the price, but fair play to Owen Bates. He was sort of there or thereabouts yesterday, but performed very well today.
Yeah, probably thought he'd blown it when he did miss those dozen darts against Jacob Taylor. Let's have a look at the stats from this afternoon's session, and you can see there again, not as many breaks of throw from yesterday, but certainly many more legs played.
Yeah, and a lot more missed darts at doubles than we've been used to seeing so far. We've seen a lot of the doubling percentages around 37-38%. So it just shows you how good the quality was today. The running average still around, well, just shy of 90, despite only 31% on the doubles.
And Owen Bates with the highest winning average. He probably actually was the best player today, wasn't he?
In a consistent level, yeah, absolutely. He was rock solid, pulled out some really important shots, despite the one game that we thought was going to be his undoing, where he did miss 12 at a double for the match.
Yeah, so it is Jacob Taylor, Owen Bates that's gone through. Luke Litter already through from Group A, and now attention turns to Group B. 3 from 5 will progress. Here is how the table looks after the first night of play. And it is Daryl Pilgrim on 8 at the top, 6 for Scott Taylor, John Worsley on 4, 2 for Mike Warburton, none for Mike Gillett. Everyone's going to have to kind of reverse the fortunes for things to change.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have to see Gillett do exactly what Pilgrim did yesterday and go through the card unbeaten. Yeah, it was a funny session last night. Pilgrim was the best player by some margin.
He deserved what he got. Was there anyone who probably deserved more than they got?
Yeah, you'd probably say Warby of all the players. There was a couple of games that he could have won, or certainly should have extended the match. But yeah, I mean, I think John Worsley's the one to watch out for tonight. I think he was so solid last night, and again, he was involved in probably the best match we've seen here.
Yeah, you can catch it on our YouTube channel in full as well. Here's how the bookies see it going into this final night of qualifying for Champions Night tomorrow. Pilgrim, odds on to make it through, and they've gone with the way the table is.
Yeah, I mean, they did it yesterday in Group C, didn't they? They made Jacob Taylor favourite for the group, and, well, a rarity, they got it right, shock horror. They made Pilgrim the favourite for this group, and it looks like they've got it right. But, I mean, I'm not sure if there's any particular value there. I mean, it would be a huge upset, of course, for Gillett to win it. He's 750 to 1, but maybe Scott Taylor at 7 to 4. He's his closest rival, and if Scott Taylor wins that opening match against Gillett, then who knows? I don't think there'll be too much of that 7 to 4 about.
Yeah, unlikely for Gillett to win it, but he could sneak into third. That's what he did last time, and then went on to win the week.
Exactly, that's exactly what he did. He was in a world of trouble going into the final night, just about squeaked to third spot, the final spot to qualify for finals night, and then did the business on the Saturday night.
Right, let's see if this man's found any value for you who might fancy a flutter. If you do, of course, gamble responsibly, but what has the ace come up with?
Yeah, I think John Worsley to beat Mike Gillett at 8 to 11. I think we can only base that on the fact of what we've seen last night, and when we put all the numbers together, it certainly points in the direction of John Worsley. Match winner, Worsley against Warby at 5 to 6, and then Taylor against Pilgrim. Pilgrim to win at 5 to 6, pays nearly 5 to 1.
There we go. Follow Chris Mason if you want to gamble responsibly, but I'm not sure those two things necessarily go together. Right, give us a prediction. Pilgrim, we're going to say he's probably a win away, so we're going to take him out of the equation. Another player or two to make it through tonight?
Scott Taylor and John Worsley.
There we go. Confident call from Chris Mason, and he's going to call the action in the commentary box. The first match of the night features Scott Taylor. He's taking on Mike Gillett, and Henry Deacon will guide you through it.
Thank you, Chris. And so tomorrow night, the Super Series will hold a party, but only 6 will have a cordial invitation. Whitehead and Smith, the two that have previously been crowned, but for whom will tomorrow be a coronation. We already know 3 of the 6 names that are going to be there. Littler, Bates and Taylor will all be competing for the prize. But the final half of that jigsaw puzzle, tonight we will finally find out who is going to join them at Champions Night tomorrow evening. Well, in the box seat is Daryl Pilgrim, having won each and every single one of his fixtures yesterday. If Mike Gillett's going to get there, well, he's going to have to win pretty much every single fixture tonight and then hope for favours elsewhere. Scott Taylor finds himself nicely poised on 6 points. Quite a healthy position to be in at the halfway point in a Group B campaign. But what we're going to see here this evening, it's a sort of night where anything can happen. You look at the players in the midway pack of the table. Well, each and every single one of them will shout their case. Shouting the scores is Danny McNamara this evening, and describing all the action alongside me, probably not shouting as much as I will, but will be describing all the action all the same, is Mace the Ace himself. Hello again, Chris.
Hello, mate. What are you doing in here again? Does anybody know what you're doing?
60.
I'm like that pesky fly you just can't swat away.
You just don't like doing one job, do you? You just got to have a bit of variety. Nothing wrong with that, pal. Doing a fine job.
Just can't get enough of your company.
81.
Understandable. I've heard that before, but I just can't recall
78.
who said it. Well, I've just been put under the lamps by Murph. What's your feelings about tonight? Do you think Pilgrim runs away with it?
So after a whole week of me questioning you, the boots on the other foot. I mean, you look at Daryl Pilgrim's just altogether mannerisms, the game, the level 45. That he's at. You'd think one win's probably enough in this group to see him through, and you'd imagine at any point he's gonna get that. And if anything,
I'm not letting you get away with that. Is he going to win the group?
60.
I think he wins it.
And
possibly to a point where he could do the 4 out of 4 again.
I agree that his level of play was simply stunning at times.
104.
And who do you think will join him? Luke Littler and the 2 lads from this afternoon.
I think Mike Warburton's got a glint in his
60.
eye tonight. I think there's a business-like mannerism about him.
I was split between Warby,
20.
Scott Taylor and John Worsley.
144.
I sort of went for Worsley above Warby. And I wouldn't normally do that, but you can't plan when you're going to come in and out of form. It's not like...
Scott Roy, 20.
It's not like you're
Game
a runner doing a...
Scott Taylor.
I don't know, a 10K. You can peak for that physically in your preparation.
Second leg Mike to throw first.
For a
Game on.
sport like this and like snooker, we've seen it. Ronnie wasn't in great form, was he, going into the World? So no surprise that he didn't win it, because you just can't.
96.
You can do all the practice in the world. If you're off the boil and off your game, that's it.
And this format catches you out.
Yeah,
98.
every time. Absolutely, every time. Because you just can't prep for, this can be many outside influences as well.
140.
Our players arrived to the venue quite early this evening. All the players are in by around about 8 o'clock tonight.
140.
And you could just tell this afternoon from the vibe around the place, there was a real serious nature about it.
Yeah, the atmosphere had changed completely in
171.
the players' room. Our commentary box is right next to it, and you can hear it when they're all a bit
99,
boisterous and they're laughing and
94.
joking. There was no laughing and joking in there this afternoon. There certainly wasn't after poor old West State got done by Justin Hood.
Game shot of the second leg, Mike Gillett.
And you could tell Justin was absolutely gutted to have won,
Third leg spot
because
to throw first. Game on.
he knew how that would have impacted Steve West. But
100.
as I said to Murph, sport often gets questioned about its integrity and everything else. Have you ever seen anybody sort of not
60.
try?
Well, Justin Hood's in that weird situation where, because he eliminated and there's a whole host of things riding on that game, even if he won, he
91.
couldn't win. Because if he wins, then he knocks one player out. If he loses, then he sends another player out. And it's a hard situation as a player to be put in when you've got nothing to play for yourself, and then
96.
you're playing for other people. That can come with its own responsibilities.
And we've seen Kevin Painter lose out and not qualify under the same circumstances, playing against someone
59.
who had nothing to play for apart from their pride in the integrity of our tournament.
And we were sat there for the last couple of legs, and you could just feel in that room just
46.
the tension. This is a major opportunity, a major tournament for players to play in, and that came to the fore today.
Yeah, and I mean, for someone like Westy, he'd have
96.
had definite ambitions of winning it this week. And for him, who's going to undergo quite a serious operation in the
100.
summertime,
Scott require 150.
will mean he's going to be unable to work for months and months and months. That 20 grand for him would have been absolutely enormous.
136.
Well, you basically tick over what you're going to lose in earnings through both a professional capacity and darts capacity. Remember, he didn't go to Q School after losing his car because he didn't know when that operation was going to be.
97.
Yeah,
Scott
exactly.
require
And
19.
it would also then put him in a financial position to sort of regroup and get ready for next year's assault on Q
No
School
score.
and
Mike
whatever
require
happens after that.
102.
And a lot of these players are in that same boat. For them, 20 grand could be life-changing, literally.
Well, that was literally the worst start Mike
And
Gillett could have had.
That happened a lot to him last night. There was a lot of
66.
those that were literally
Scott
just
require
right next door.
19.
Well, this time he will go 3 for double eight after slipping into the 17 for the Madhouse,
3.
but it's the same result this time as
Mike
well. So get
require
it back
36.
for 36 to make it 2-1 and a break of throw.
Multiple darts here. Got Taylor to hold. He's going to get punished with a break of throw.
Game shot of the
There's your
third
answer.
leg, Mike Gillett.
There's a lovely 12 darter in leg 2 from Gillett.
How many visits was that?
That was a 20. Yeah.
Fourth leg, Mike
Yeah.
to throw first.
5 visits
Game
or
on.
fewer? I'm not sure. I think so.
Both of Gillett's legs have been won on double 18. That's what we do definitely know
100.
in this game.
Some things we know, and there's some things we don't know. And today, that was most definitely one we didn't know.
121.
We've seen a lot of darts recently. I think our
Everything,
brains fried.
everything just blends into one game at the moment.
26.
I feel like all I've done is sat next to you for the last God knows how long.
I told you, I see more of you than my missus, and you don't even give me a kiss.
140.
You don't even tuck me in.
46.
Nice bacon roll for breakfast in the morning. A cup of tea, please, Henry.
It'll be serviced with a smile.
I bet that's what you get off your mum in the morning.
125.
If I'm a good boy. Should we get back to the darts?
96. Scotch require 150.
Taylor won in 115 for the break back.
Yeah, well, this would be a bad game to lose for Scott Taylor. This early
41.
on would initially put him a little bit on the back foot and give Worsley, who's up in match number 3 against Gillett, a chance to
58.
overtake him into second
Scotch require
position.
74.
Also massive for Gillett to try and bounce back tonight.
Game shot of the fourth leg. Scott
Remember,
Taylor.
the week he qualified, he just squeaked through in a Friday night Group B in the final qualifying position, and then went on to win the Saturday night to take his place here in Champions Week.
Effectively, Mike Gillett is just staring down the trapdoor everywhere he goes, because even if he wins this game, he plays
33.
John Worsley in the third match of the evening session. Now, if Worsley were then to go on and win that particular match, to be his first of the evening, he'd open up a 4-point buffer on Gillett, and there'd still only be 4 points Gillett be left to play for at that
100.
particular juncture.
Yeah, and then Gillett's third. I mean, well, there's just no easy games in the group. I'm trying to look for an opportunity of
50.
where there may be a more comfortable win than others, and there isn't. This is just a super tough group, as was Group C this afternoon.
100.
Wouldn't have it any other way at Champions Week.
That's how it should be. It is the cream of the crop.
One will rise to the
95.
top tomorrow night.
We will announce our lineup a little bit later, I do believe, for Series 4. Week 1 gets underway Monday. If you want to join us next Saturday,
40.
unfortunately, I have been telling you, well, for the last 3 months to book tickets for the Saturday night. And unfortunately, it was pretty much sold out straight away, wasn't it? But if you want to join us next Saturday
85.
and you have one of them scanner jobs on your phone, you know how technical I am. Apparently, you just scan that.
The Tungsten T-Rex.
It's a
56.
QR code, I've been reliably informed. I actually did my first bit of
98.
QR code in last weekend in the Netherlands. To book room service, you had to scan one of them things on the telly, and it all popped up on my phone. So I had a nice bit of room
60.
service.
Scotch require
In my suite.
140.
The penthouse, the Mason
Well,
penthouse.
it wasn't quite. It was a suite, but it wasn't the penthouse. It was salubrious enough.
You had much time to spend in there.
I don't think the PDC will enjoy the bill, though.
90.
Unfortunately,
Mike
but
require
there you go.
145.
So Gillett 1-4-5 here then to open up a 3-2 lead to break the throw, and he wasn't too far away from the 45, was he? And so
Sorry, Henry, if you don't have that thingy on your phone, just head over to www.dartshop.tv
85.
And that'll
Scotch
take you-
require 50.
to where you need to be. And while you're there, you can book tickets for
Game
the Seniors
number 5
Masters
leg,
in a
Scott Taylor.
couple of weeks' time as in Yeovil. Come and watch me get beat again. That's what you like doing.
6-leg Mike to throw.
As long as you buy a ticket.
Game on.
I can hear the keyboards pattering as we speak. However, if you do want to see that, you have to turn up early.
yeah, I'm on at 1 o'clock again. I think they're just trying to get me out of the way, you know.
119.
So you can't even play that game of you went out first round, you in tournament longer than X player, Y player.
58.
Yeah, I can't be last on and go up into the patch. I'm still in, lads. I'm still in.
I'm sure that was the only trick in the book Peter Manley didn't try at the Circus Tavern.
59.
Oh, I bet he did. Gillett in a good spot here to hold and force a last leg shootout. We know what can happen there.
58.
Absolutely anything. There's a lot of nerves on that stage right now. Neither player Well, Gillett
60.
was sort of threatening to grab the game by the scruff of the neck with that 12 dart hold in leg 2. Then went completely missing.
99.
It was interesting just watching earlier on this evening. Obviously, we have the advantage of seeing what the players are doing before we go on air. And Scott just spent a little bit of time on stage on his own, getting the cuts of the throw, but perhaps more importantly, having a bit of time just in his own company.
146.
Yep. Times you just need. It's been a tough week for him. He looked like he was going to win Group A, didn't he, for long periods. And then he's had to bounce back, and he did bounce back well last night, winning 3 of his 4 matches, only beaten by Pilgrim.
$86.
You do
Scott
want to get in
O'Hara,
touch with us here,
129.
direct into the commentary box, and you've got Twitter at MSS Darts, all one word. Henry's got the app or whatever it is open on his
57.
laptop.
Mike requires
If you've got
60.
any comments or questions, we'll read out the best ones. Big dart.
20.
It wasn't quite the dart Charvu from the winning shot in week
72.
11, though, was it? And so Taylor returns for 72 to take the points. Double 12 is what he wants. Double 12 is what he gets.
Scott Taylor.
And as far as opening performances go, that was rock solid from Scott Taylor. An average just under 84 and a 4-2 victory against Mike Gillett, which puts him onto 8 points alongside Darryl Pilgrim in the Group B table, and already at this early point in the evening puts himself in a very good position. As for Mike Gillett, well, his chances really do dangle on the edge, doesn't it? So Scott Taylor winning by 4 legs to 2 against Mike Gillett coming up after the break. Darryl Pilgrim are going to make it on to 10. He takes on Mike Warburton.
Welcome back. So a perfect start for Scott Taylor, leaving Mike Gillett in real danger. But the next match is equally as important as well. Game 2 tonight sees the league leader Daryl Pilgrim take on Mike Warburton. Pilgrim won this fixture 4-0 yesterday to complete a 4-0 return in terms of wins and losses. And if he does it again, he would secure qualification to finals night. That's because the man he's playing is a man in 4th place and could only get to 8 points. Pilgrim would move to 10. Warburton, though, will be looking to get off to a good start and avenge that whitewash from yesterday. So will Pilgrim power on and power through and extend his winning streak at the Super Series to 8 matches, or will Warburton win? Let's find out in the company of Henry Deacon and Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yeah, will the power of Pilgrim prevail once again here at the Super Series? Well, it's been the question that we've been asking for quite a while. He's been installed as one of the favourites throughout the whole course, but we just know with Mike Warburton there's always something lurking just around the corner. Tonight he's got the crest of his beloved Wrexham FC adorned to his playing shirt.
Yeah, they've done all right, haven't they?
Yeah, they won a particular league, didn't they?
Can Warby win this one?
However, he's not got Ben Foster in goal.
100.
I know, not the biggest football buff. Have you seen the Ben Foster clips, the Wrexham goalkeeper?
No.
So he's a goalkeeper and he has a GoPro behind his goal every single time he plays. So when he's been playing for Wrexham, he's had a GoPro behind the goal and he's been doing
60.
YouTube vlogs of his
of
his games behind the goal.
Oh, I'll have a look at that. Just a quick update on things that have happened in everything darts. We're not just about the Super Series. Barry Van Peer, a player we know very well here at the Super Series, he won Challenge Tour 10. And how about this one? In Challenge Tour 11, Daniel Ayres beat Landerman in the semis. Wayne Jones beat Cam Crabtree in the semis. And Wayne Jones won the final 5-2. Congratulations to Wayne Jones. And this evening's match is on the Euro Tour in Belgium. Matt Campbell beat Callum Ritz. Gurney beat Slevin. Clearmacher beat Ross Smith. Gary Anderson beat Ratajski 6-1. Barneveld beat Wade 6-3. Hybrids going down 6-0 to Ricky Evans. Chris Dobie beating Daliblor Schmolik 6-3. And Dimitri, another home favourite, beating Ian White 6-1.
What was his name again?
I'm not even repeating it. Schmolik. That's it.
Yeah, many congratulations there goes to Wayne Jones, which, when you win a challenge, that pretty much rubber stamps an invite, usually here to the Super Series.
Yeah, just keep him away if they do a Legends Week in Series 4. But yeah, fair play to him. He was involved in some cracking matches over the course of the day, as was Jim McEwen. He put in some big numbers today. Looks to have found a bit of form. He would no doubt be involved in Series 4. But we will be
100
revealing
Mikey requires
after
62.
match number 5, I do believe, the lineup for next week. Some new names, some exciting names to bring you.
Game shot on the first leg, Mike
Hopefully some exciting darts like that. 14 dart break to start there for Mike Warburton to take the lead against Daryl Pilgrim by a leg. And all I will say about next week's lineup is this:
second leg, Mike.
Don't put the kettle on whilst the matches are on.
Game on.
I give you a bit of a hint there when I said some big names. Bit cryptic, that.
100.
And spot on with the coronation.
100.
Welcome back, Daryl.
Talk about teasing. He's been teasing this perfect leg for a little while now. I'm going to go the opposite way to Merv and just try and call it early and see whether the opposite style correlates to results.
100.
Good luck with that.
Not seen one at Champions Week yet.
Ever.
We're not going to see one now either.
All Daryl wants to see is a chalk on the board.
85.
And that break back.
We were delving through his stats for yesterday, and it just made for such impressive reading.
Yeah, stats
60.
well over the 90, and for the night that is, and to even more impressive is it's higher than his running average, which is already impressive at over 91
134.
over his last 100 games here at the Super Series. That cannot be ignored.
And to add even more context to it, he has a higher 12-month running average than the likes of Alan Suter.
Yeah.
45. Darrell, you require 102.
This guy can do.
And Suter's playing at a much higher level amongst the elite of the sport, hence why they've got tour cards.
70.
So that will inflate your average. You're not going to get too many games where you're finding two players scratching around at a double.
Pilgrim gets a fair bit of Tour Card Pro Tour action, courtesy of his exploits on the Challenge Tour and other such things.
190.
Just keeps him
Darrell, you require
interested.
32.
Just pokes Pilgrim a little bit in the back, but don't poke the cage of Darrell Pilgrim. 2 legs won in this match, 2 legs won in less than 5 visits, or in 5 visits or less.
Darrell to throw first. Game
Stop
on.
it.
It was a 13 darter.
Yeah. It was a 5-visit leg.
58.
And Lucas Venig went out in the last 32. In the first one, he went out first round, and I'm sure he has to be questioning his decision to turn down the opportunity to play in Champions Week. The guy that replaced him won Group C today, and he's safely in tomorrow night's final with Owen Bates and, of course, Luke Littler. A win here for Pilgrim, and that'll be 4 names in the hat.
My opinion on this
60.
is you've got 2 trains of thought here. No matter what, you can play the Sunday event if you really want to. If you go out on the Friday, you can still play 3 Challenge Tour events. Now, you're going to get an
58.
appearance fee for appearing every single day here as well, on top of the possible prize money earnings you can get on Saturday evening. And look, this is as big an event as anyone's going to play in without a tour card. It's £20,000. I mean,
And the exposure, and if you're managing a player and you want,
100.
you got, sponsorship patches on your shirt, surely you want them seen.
It wasn't so long ago that for players outside the PDC, the only televised darts they'd get in a year
100.
is maybe one appearance at Lakeside. And remember, up until
161.
around Channel 4 took over, you only allowed 1 sponsorship patch.
Yep. Correct. Great to see our colleague Scott Mitchell go on a bit of a run today as well. He was eventually beaten in the
148.
round of 32 to David Evans, another friend of the Super Series. 5-3 that was.
100.
And a fair few players who will be joining us next week
96.
in fine form as well.
Stop it. We'll be hoping he won't stop it. He'll be hoping to
Team from the
carry
third
on
leg,
and
Mike
carry on
Warburton.
the sequence of legs which has been won in 14, 13 and 14. What a game this is brewing up to be.
Well, breaks of throw are
Fourth
usually
leg,
an
Mike
indication
to
of
throw first.
scrappy matches.
Game
Not so
on.
in this one. 2 from 2 on the doubles for Warby. Maybe he heard me when I said I didn't think he was going to be one of the 3.
Might have.
It's just down. It's not down to... Listen,
100.
there's not too many people that are bigger fans of Warby than me, especially that action, but it's just not shown that level of consistency
28.
that I think is required to secure a position in the top 3, especially when he starts the night off with just 1 win.
And we're also looking at the evolution of Champions Week in the fact that now what perhaps would have been a par for the course standard in
100.
maybe Series 1 and when we were back in Southampton in the previous incarnation of this tournament is now just it's just not competitive these days. And that the standard at
99.
Champions Week is incrementally going up series by series.
Yeah, well, there was no, often we may end up bringing in an ADC player in qualification weeks where they're
135.
maybe not out of their depths in terms of ability, but they're out of their depths in terms of experience, which is why they learn so much, because they're getting so many matches. And more often than not, when we see them return, they're improved as a player, and they go away as an improved player, which is the whole concept of this. It's to battle harden and give players the opportunity to play in this environment, which is as close as you can get, really, I
60.
suppose. Well, it's superior to the Pro Tour, but in terms of those cubicle environments here, you're on a stage, you're under the lights. It's it's
98.
it's an environment
Require
to take you to that
106.
next level, which is why the ones that have played a lot here have gone on to do great things.
It's a twofold process here, as Warburton looks at the 106 for a 3-1 lead. And if this doesn't go, it'll be our first leg of
66.
Beyond 15.
Only just missed tops, and he'll be back. Still averaging over the ton. Pilgrim down, surprisingly, mid-80s.
46.
Which, when you describe the talent
Like
of this
require
man, that is actually a
40.
below par performance.
He only had one around that kind of number last night.
And
Game
Warby's
is on the
making him
fourth
pay
leg,
with some
Mike
excellent darts of his own. He's averaging 97, just under 98. That leg won in 18. The first leg to be won over that
Fifth leg
15
down
range.
to
And now he's on the
Game on.
cusp of picking up a win, which would condemn Pilgrim to a first defeat in the group.
Yeah, Darrell had an average of 85.61 last night. He hit 180 in it. I remember an 85.61. He missed a leg of darts in doubles. He was 4 from 17, so he missed 13. And the leg he's won here, he won in 13.
85.
So to still have a mid-80s average with missing that many darts at a double is highly impressive. And still won the match 4-1.
It's been a day that has
58.
been marred by missed doubles, which has created such drama. Owen Bates, well, he could have made it so much easier for himself if he just got over the line against Jacob Taylor, his 12-match darts.
And I think that would have also put Steve Westerhope.
60.
But that's, I mean, their running average over the day was just shy of 90, yet checkout percentage was 31%. And that's pressure.
58.
Wait till it cranks up tomorrow night. Now, you've been in that scenario. You've been in that room when the biggest check's been on offer.
Yeah, and in all honesty, it didn't.
100.
I got to word this without it sounding terrible, but for me, it was just a bonus. I wasn't really, I earned that a month. No, I'm joking. A little bit more.
84.
Yeah, for a lot of players in there, it was huge for them. So I didn't feel, it just didn't. I wanted to win it for me, but it wouldn't really have changed anything.
100.
I don't have any
That will require
aspirations to do anything.
164.
But for the rest of them, and I was chuffed to bits that it eventually went to Conan. But I'd have been pleased for any one of the winners in there. But for these guys, like I said, it's career changing and
136.
potentially life changing. They go on and
Like
get a
require
card and then have
156.
a 10-year career in the PDC and earn themselves a couple of million quid. Happy days. Good luck to them.
We're going to crown that champion. Not too far from this time tomorrow night, really.
60.
7:30 we begin.
28.
Pilgrim at the end of night one looks set to be in the race. He's still in a very good position no matter what happens in this game, but he needs this double 14.
Team
Otherwise,
of the
he may
fifth leg,
lose it.
Daryl
But he now
Pilgrim.
forces Warburton to serve it out here. That's 17 dart leg for the Flying Eagle, otherwise known as
Six leg Mike
Mr.
to
P.
throw first. Game on.
And if any one of these guys do go on to do that, then we can come and have a look at each other's R8s and Astons and stuff like that. Very nice.
140.
We'll give you the details and you can send us the check. Because there is going to be a day, you look at some of the young players that have come through
58.
this. Cam Crabtree, Owen Bates, the likes of Jared Cole, Nathan Gervin, Luke Littler, of course. One of them's going to be world champion one day. Possibly.
For sure.
60.
And what's frightening is Luke Littler's an improving player. And it sounds, I don't even think he's anywhere near as good as he can be. And he's
140.
miles better than I ever was already. Where is he going to be in 1 year? Never mind 10.
Luke Littler's in that equivalent situation that Michael van Gerwen was back in
60.
2006. 16-year-old, and he's made it, even though he's got to play at pool stage first, he's made it through to the finals of a major televised event within the system he's playing in.
Murph said something yesterday which was absolutely frightening.
133.
When MVG won the World Masters when he was 17, Luke wasn't even born.
When Luke Littler was born, the year he was born, Rihanna's Umbrella was UK number 1.
Darrell, you require 170.
Tune. Better than Coldplay.
96.
Hello, Owen.
Mike, you require 101.
Is it going to be a case of room 101 for Warburton to get the job done? 81 left.
Well, he's just going to have to try and set
49.
up. And fingers
Darrell, you
crossed,
require 74.
Pilgrim doesn't take the 74. 42 for 32. 20 for tops.
To take us all the way.
34.
Oh, it was on the money.
Mike, you require 52.
Is Warby going to be in the money?
This could be a big money moment. They're all going to be around this point of the evening for him. It's going to be 2 at double
Game,
16,
shot,
and he
and a
only
match,
needs
Mike
1. And you can
Robertson.
see in the celebration there the potential importance of it as he compounds Pilgrim to his first defeat here at Champions Week. As to Mike Warburton, it puts him level on points with John Worsley, who we're about to see in action against Mike Gillett, the cellar dweller. But Warburton getting over the line of a 93.35 average, a couple of maxes to his name, and an impressive 4 out of 7 on the doubles. So Warburton in the winner's enclosure. Next up for us is Gillett and Worsley.
Welcome back, and what a win for Warby before the break. Mike Warburton inflicted the first defeat of Champions Week on Daryl Pilgrim, who would have been through with a win in that one, but now, as you can see, has work to do. A real race between four, it seems, for those three places, but Mike Gillett might have something to say about that. Game 3 is his 6th game in this group. It's not gone well for the Welshman so far. Having lost his first 5 fixtures, Gillett finds his feet planted firmly on the tungsten trapdoor, and trying to pull the lever and strengthen his own position in the top 3 is week 1 winner John Worsley, who won this tie yesterday, but it did go to a last leg decider, and it will be a decisive match for Gillett, whether he stays in or is eliminated at this stage from Champions Week. The picture is about to become a lot clearer, and putting words to the pictures here are Henry Deacon and Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, if Mike Gillett's Super Series campaign was an elevator, well, you'd say he has to go up a couple of levels here, because he is facing the trapdoor smack bang in the face, and defeat here, that will be that. He'll be stuck in a tungsten purgatory. Up against him, John Worsley, who is the middleman as far as this group is concerned. And if he can get a victory here, well, that really does keep Mike Warburton honest after that really impressive opening win against Daryl Pilgrim, keep him under the pump, and what will be a crucial game with Scott Taylor.
Yeah,
Game
I mean,
on.
mathematically, yes, Gillett has a chance, or will he become spoiler? And will he play with freedom now after losing
60.
that opening match? Only averaged 79. But if he plays to a level anywhere around that, he's going to get crushed
140.
by a big womble.
Things you don't expect to say whilst commentating on darts.
60.
And usually, for a right-hander, he's slightly left of the
92.
middle, which is he's probably perfectly in line. The left-hander tends to stand slightly to the left, whilst the right-hander tends
41.
to stand slightly to the right. That's pretty much the norm. I think if you took a line straight down to the middle of the board, down to the bullseye, middle of the 3, run it down the floor and along the hockey and up his arm, I'd expect he's pretty much bang on.
Just noticing early on a bit of an equipment change for Mike Gillett. A bit more of a
140.
smoother barrel in this one compared to what he was using in the first.
Well, some players feel like they get more grip
92.
on a smoother barrel because there's more contact area with the material.
Can you also find your own natural point when you want to grip the dart? Whereas with something with a little bit more grip, you feel like you've got to grip it there, so to speak.
Yeah.
40. John, you require 118.
Well, Terry Jenkins, another one that uses a smooth barrel, of course. And his explanation to me, which is one I've used since, well, if you think about a tyre,
82.
the grippiest tyre is a
Mike, you
smooth one
require
because
160.
the surfaced area, there's more contact.
Will the change of barrels lead to a change of fortunes for Gillett? He wants Totsa 160 to start.
120.
Wow. Thought that was in. I'm
John,
sure
you
he did as well.
36.
But he has to watch John Worsley find the target that Gillett found twice in that 4-2 defeat to Scott Taylor. It was actually his puncher mark on the double 18 Worsley found.
Second leg, John, to throw first.
16 dart breaker throw for John Worsley. Continuing where he left off. He was the only player to average in excess of a ton last night. And unfortunately
60.
for him, well, 103.41 to be exact. A 101 finish, a 156 finish. 3 out of 7, and he lost 4-3. Go figure.
140.
Tough school.
Silly game darts, isn't it?
Yeah, it does it does leave you scratching your head more often than not.
100.
Would it be fair to say with Worsley, picked up 4 points from yesterday, but he didn't really have a bad performance, so to speak, in there? It was maybe a case of just opportunities at times coming and evading him.
Yeah, I think that's
60.
pretty fair. He averaged 87 in his opener against Warby, who averaged 90.75. He hit a couple of 180s, missed 9 darts at a double, which obviously affects the average.
99.
Then he had an 86-61 in a 4-3 win against Scott Taylor. Doubling much better.
100.
And then that 103.41, which he lost. And then an 85-39 where he had 3 180s, missed 10 darts at a double. Which obviously, again, drags the numbers down.
174.
Beauty.
He's again ticking above the ton, just ticking above the ton. And on the verge, potentially, of a 2-0 lead, and it would mean that Mike Gillett would be 2 legs away from
130.
mathematical elimination.
Junior
The
Wire 68.
teacher.
He's being taught a lesson at the moment.
$36. Mike, you require 71.
Can he teach John Worsley a lesson in combination finishing?
Would he be saved by the bell?
Game shot of the second
Tops it
leg,
is for
Mike
Gillett.
Say 15 dart break back.
How many times do you reckon he's been told that the dog ate
Third
their
leg, Mike
homework?
to throw first. Game on.
The problem with that is there's probably been a time when that thing genuinely happened, but because a teacher's been told that so many times, they will not believe it for a
100.
second. Although I don't know what it's like to miss homework.
Ops.
85.
It looks like
45.
Mr. Gillett might be put in Super Series detention.
He's currently on the naughty step at the foot of the table.
60.
He's at the back of the class.
Well, if Scott Taylor defeats Warby
96.
in our next match, he will go top of the class. It's been dominated by Darryl from pretty much from the off, hasn't it? He's never not been at the top of the table.
180.
180, first one. Did have that 174, although that didn't materialise in a winning leg, but great
140.
response from Mike Gillett.
Gosh, just a reminder, because of the way the group lies, 10 points is enough for any player to get through. So Taylor would do enough to get through if he beats Warburton in the next game.
Mike, you require
Can
120.
Gillett climb the ladder? He has to come down to go up. The top rung is found for Gillett to take a 2-1 lead. You could just see that little bit of a fist bump in celebration there. Looking to get something going this evening. Looking to get something going
throw first.
in terms of this group.
And I'm going to call it now. John Worsley and Warby due to be
81.
playing in
Six
games time, and that could very well turn out to be a straight shootout.
Knockout darts before the knockout darts
60.
begins. Why don't we go early? As if this afternoon's tension wasn't enough.
Wow, that was just incredible. one of the most dramatic sessions.
59.
Hilariously, Murph worked out some permutations in the opening 3 matches that what would happen if the bottom 3 beat the top 3 in the opening 3 matches.
137.
That's exactly what happened.
There was a point today I felt physically seasick having a look at that table.
$85.
Mike Gillett will be feeling seasick about
87.
where this group's gone, and we're going to keep the school pun themes going. Gillett it'll be a case of just saying no to what's happened in the past for him, and he's just got to try and do all he can in the remaining fixtures.
On require 136.
Another. Just underneath the wire. He is going to come back with Gillett all the way back on
96.
2-3-1 mind.
And he loves a double 18. Not missed it in this match. One at it and hit it.
89.
Any dart he's missed it a
On
double.
require 40.
Was the double 16 on 68.
Game shot on the 4th leg, John Worsley.
That's Worsley, no mistake on the double 10. So 2 apiece, and it's a best of 3, which will change a heck of a lot for both players. So Mike Gillett, if he
Fifth leg,
loses,
Mike
he is
to throw first.
eliminated. A
Game on.
win for Worsley would put him on to 6 points. But if things go the other way round, it would mean Gillett would be only a couple of points behind Worsley and would open up the door for Mike
140.
Warburton next up against Scott Taylor.
2 breaks of throw, followed by 2 holds.
100.
If you look at the stats, you would think Worsley should be winning this one comfortably. Not so.
81.
What is it we say about them only being a guide?
Very apt.
The good news is the average won't be written on the trophy tomorrow night.
85.
My line. And they don't write averages on the check. The number to worry about on that check
60.
is the sort code, the account number, and the amount. And the amount will be £20,000.
100.
Career high payday for every player in the field tomorrow night.
100.
Well, you look at the players who've currently gone through so far, that none of them have played for that kind of prize money before. I know Luke Little played in the WDF World Championship, but he only progressed through to the 2nd round. Then you've got the likes of Owen Bates, who really his only competition darts have come courtesy of the
Mike
floor.
require 120.
And then Jacob Taylor's whipping up trees in the CDC, but this be a big day for him. Is it going to be a case of dart charvu for Gillett? Not this time. He's already taken out the 120 in this game.
100. John, you require 76.
Leg 3, a 15 dart hold that was when he took the 120 out. Now he's going to get one more dart. Oh my goodness. Well, he would have had one more dart for a breaker throw had he hit the 16.
36.
That's either a slip
you
or a lack
require
of concentration.
Either which way, it's opened up the door for Gillett on this double 10. But it slips the other side, and so Worsley returns
John,
for
you
tops
require 40.
for the break. 4-3-2. He gets a reprieve after that slip on the 16. And he
In
makes
from the
full
fifth leg,
use of it
John Worsley.
to go within a leg of condemning the fate of Mike Gillett, who perhaps would have known on his face that realistically his chances had came and gone, but it would, in writing,
Game on.
conclude the formalities for him in terms of Champions Week.
Oh, we've not had a leg that was extended into
98.
7 visits. It's all been 6 visits or less.
What's a visit?
118.
Winning leg so far for Worsley. 16, 17 and 16. Couple of 15s. Mike Gillett.
96. 180.
Well, he's going to fight right up until the final dart, is Mike Gillett. That's just his character. That's just his DNA. But have a look at this for a riposte response.
120. 137.
Great stuff from Mike Gillett. Certainly not going out on a whimper.
100. Mike requires 66.
This is gutsy, because it could have been so easy in this situation to go through the motions. He's pouring out every single acre of his character here to take us all the way and to keep his faint hopes of qualification.
7th and final.
Any little bit he could control alive. That was a 12 darter as well to take us the distance.
Yeah, every time Worsley's broke the throw, Mike Gillett has instantly hit back. That time with the 12 darter. He had a 12 darter in defeat against Scott Taylor in the opening match. It's his second of the night.
140.
That's a 4-visit leg, Henry. Or if you're American,
60.
4 turns. Turns at the board.
That's usually me doing a parallel park, isn't it?
140.
Back-to-back 140s in the decider from Worsley.
This game's just gone up a gear, hasn't it, in the last leg and a half?
78.
Well, it's been a thoroughly good game. Worsley's averaging 99.8. Gillett just over the 90. He's stolen the darts. And consolidates that
134.
with his 6th treble from 9.
And Worsley's playing with this kind of machismo where he makes excellence just look like it should be something that's
140.
normalised.
John, you require 87.
Could get the job done here with this 87. To seal what would be a fantastic performance, a fantastic win. And John Worsley with a ton-topping performance, 101.45 in the end, to get the better of Mike Gillett in a last leg decider. That eliminates Gillett from the running here at the Super Series. They both share an embrace at the end there. A game played in good spirit between two fine characters of the sport. But it is Worsley who gets over the line in a last leg decider. 66% when it came to the checkouts. He gets the better of Gillett by 4 legs to 3. Coming up after the break, Scott Taylor can seal his place into tomorrow night's Champions Night if he can get the better of Mike Warburton. That's coming up after this short break.
So the guillotine has dropped and Mike Gillett has been chopped from Champions Week. He can't make it through this group anymore, having lost his 6 matches so far in Group B. But next up, it is Mike Warburton and Scott Taylor. And Warby, well, he finds himself in the same situation as earlier tonight when he prevented Daryl Pilgrim progressing to finals night by dishing out his first defeat of the week. It's now Scott Taylor who can secure his spot with victory in this one. I'm going to say this quietly, but if Warburton wins, there is still the possibility that 4 players could actually tie on 10 points. And you thought this afternoon was dramatic. Let's see how it unfolds this evening. Back to Mace and Henry.
Murph, just stop it. Stop it now. We've had enough tension for one day here at the Super Series.
It's almost inevitable, isn't it? Group C, it usually sort of sorts itself out. Today was incredible, but as a rule, Group B usually does get a little bit messy. But there was nothing messy about that performance
First leg,
in the last one by both players,
first.
winning legs in that match.
Game on.
For Mike Gillett in 15, 15 and 12. He produced that 12 dart breaker throw, only to see Worsley produce an 11. 23 darts used in the last 2 legs of the match. Take a bow, lads, and credit to Mike Gillett, who has showed that typical tenacity this evening. Thank you for your contribution in this series. Look forward to seeing you in Series 4.
137.
We'll see him a couple more times tonight. He will fulfill his fixtures as the consummate pro that he is now. We'll go back to how tight this week is. I'm going to say something on record now, and I hope our social media admins clip this up in case this happens to be true. This is the sort of week where you have a 9-dart shootout tomorrow.
Well, I can hear obscenities from
59.
the production suite.
They usually say that about me anyway.
But you do have a point. They're so well matched.
60.
Also, plenty of well-known players tuning in. Good evening to
92.
Joe Murnan. He's tuned in, watching his pal Scott Taylor, cheering him on. Hope you're well, Joe.
And just a reminder of the scenario at play. A win for Scott Taylor would put him through because then Warburton wouldn't be able to amount the amount of points that Taylor could from there on in with a couple of games remaining.
Might require 140.
Group A winners also tuning in. Luke Littler, he sent you a message, didn't he, Henry, on the socials?
I'm getting mugged off again.
By a lad.
60. Scott will require 82.
And he grows a better beard than you, son. Tops for Taylor.
Game shot of the first leg.
Tops he gets. 15 dart breaker throw. This great form from the players continue.
Second leg, Scott to throw first. Game on.
Nice little 82 out there. How often have we said that over the years? Tops for Taylor, and it goes in.
40.
Psychiatrist couch again.
Yeah. We've got 2 Taylors involved. Really will need some therapy next week. Haunting memories.
60.
To be fair, it's the first time that there's been a load of Taylors in the room and you've not been on the receiving end.
Yeah. Well, there's another Taylor next door as well.
81.
Even the social guy's called Taylor. You're having a week of it.
Someone having a bit of a bubble bath here or something.
This is where you realise Mur's middle name's Taylor as well. Or Phil.
60.
So it's not very Yorkshire name, is it? Taylor or Phil, is it?
96.
I've actually had it confirmed by Murphy's middle name is Michael.
140.
Of course. Mike Murphy, that sounds like an actor.
43.
But to the said treat then from the next biggest star in the world of darts, Luke Littler, whose spare time
45.
between playing matches here is to mug me off. That is duly noted, Luke. He says, chilling in the hotel, watching MSS Dice. Did he just hear me say that I'm coming as the Tungsten T-Rex tomorrow
60.
for Champions Week finals night? It's about time, as he keeps mentioning the T-Rex. So let's see it, Henry. Give the fans what they want.
I agree, Luke. I'm with you.
That's not going in his favour the next time I
95.
commentate on him. Looking forward to seeing Luke in action tomorrow night. The first player to book his place in
44.
Champions Night tomorrow night. Scott Taylor could be on the verge of
101.
joining him. Owen Bates and Jacob Taylor amongst that privileged list of 6, as it will be at the end of the night.
They will be split in to 2 groups of 3.
61.
Play each other once, and the top 2
Scott
will
require
make up our
137.
semi-finalists.
He's not
59.
far away from £20,000. Mike
Micro
Warburton
wire
must be a part of the
40.
equation, but winning this one feels like a must. This tops to level the game up.
Game shot on the
Topsy
second
finds
leg,
level
Mike
it up
Warburton.
at 1 apiece.
Yeah, and on top of the £20,000, a name on the beautiful trophy. I do believe you put some pictures out
Third
today,
leg,
didn't
Mike
you, on the
to
socials?
throw first.
And before you comment,
Game on.
yes, it's the closest I'll ever get to a TV trophy.
I'm gonna let you off. I'm actually in a good mood. Going home tomorrow night.
180.
Get a chance to spend 2 weeks with me cat, so I'm in a good mood.
82.
Lovely Max from Warby. First of the match, surprisingly. Expect a few from these two.
The two players that when they really do get going, they can provide something mesmeric. But again, they're
90.
two players that they have to feed off each other to get the most optimum results, you feel.
121.
Waiting the message off the missus. What, you're not coming to see me then?
So you're in the doghouse because you want to see the cat.
Yeah.
100.
Good luck this. 131 after 9. Taylor needs a max.
100. Mike, you require 131.
So 6 from here for Warby.
Do let us know on our social media at MSS Darts, or one word. Where are you watching?
91.
Who are you watching with? And what time is it where you're watching?
140. Mike, you require 40.
It's for 13 for Warburton. Going to be right on time for him. Or is it time for Taylor to
20.
strike?
Yeah, this
Scott,
is
you require
theme of
58.
break of throw is going to continue.
Game
Yes.
shot on the third leg. Scott
Absolutely.
Taylor.
Mustard on tops. 2 from 2.
We can now officially call this a break-athlon.
Fourth leg, Scott to throw first. Game on.
Oh, he'll be desperate to hold here. To stamp his authority on the match.
99.
And of course, stamp his authority on qualification. Listen, he's a serious contender for this title. He
100.
showed that in the manner in which he qualified for Champions Week with the identical
25.
final average, using exactly the same amount of darts as Luke Littler's winning average, in excess of 109, both in the finals.
And if Scott Taylor was to pick up the £20,000 top prize, he could probably do it in similar fashion to which he won the qualification week, go
41.
under the radar because he had someone like Andy Bolton who was impressive throughout the entirety of the week's worth of qualification, but then pull out a performance when he needs to get over the line. And much of the talk tomorrow is going to be over the likes of Luke Lee. It's going to be about Jacob Taylor for obvious reasons.
83.
He could, if he gets through, quietly sneak underneath the surface, a bit like what Conan Whitehead did in Series 1.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting how they price it up.
180.
It's going to be a big night for that man on your screen there tomorrow night. Danny McNamara, his first major final. He's going to referee tomorrow evening.
100.
Great addition for us here at the Super Series as Danny.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I think he's going to have a big future. Wonder who's
140.
having a big future right now. Charlie Colstefine, he's back. EBR
64.
in the referees
Might require 40.
zone next week.
Yeah, brilliant to have
He's
Charlie
a big
back.
Charlie now, isn't he? Big time Charlie.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
That was a
Mike
big
Warburton.
time break of throw, and it does continue. 4 on the spin now.
Fifth leg, Mike to throw first.
Yeah, it was actually
Game on.
quite a nice little moment for us at the Super Series a couple of weeks ago at the Premier League darts where Charlie was refereeing and we also had Owen on the stage as well.
Yeah.
190.
And of course, Owen had his opportunity to referee down at the UK Open on the big stage too.
Did a great job.
He did.
83.
Don't tell him that though.
Oh, don't worry, he's listening. There's no doubt about that. He's already called you out on Twitter today, mate.
Good luck with that. That was a third 180 in successive legs for Mike Warburton.
81.
180 in leg 3, 180 in leg 4, and now a 180 in leg 5. And are we eventually going to get a hold of throw? It's looking likely.
The lesser spotted holder throw.
As rare as you going to the bar, Henry.
That's libel now.
140.
Only if it's lies.
81. Mike, you require 100.
So then Warburton, 6 here from a ton, which he's left after 9. He's averaging 97.35 at the minute. And he's going through the gears and he leads through 2.
The
Six
second,
legs got
no,
to
that's the
throw
first
first. Game
and... No, it is. It's the second 11 darter, of course. We had one at the end of the last match.
140.
It's our second 11 of the night. It's a 4 visit leg. Henry.
Will we see a free visit leg?
140.
Not in this leg. And that could be done in 7, 8 or 9.
96. 100.
Well, going back to referees, I hear the call of 100 and I can only ever hear the voice of Marco Meyer.
Good shout. Oh, look at this from Warby.
180. He's got your
Irresistible.
170.
4 maxes in the leg, in the match. 1 in each of the last 4
57.
legs.
And he's on for back-to-back
Mike
11
Uruguay,
darters to get
81.
the job done here. If he can take out this 81 in 2, if he can take it all together, he'll represent a big 2 points for him. Double 12. Now 6ers.
Game
What
shot.
a run to
And
the
a
line
match
for
Mike
Warburton. An 11 followed by a 12 and an average of 102.5 to get the Federer Scott Taylor 4-2. You can see what it means to Mike Warburton, who is fired up ready for the occasion. It's 2 wins from 2 for him so far this evening, and it makes the race for a place at finals night tomorrow really intensify as we edge closer towards the halfway mark. Next up, John Worsley in action up against Darryl Pilgrim, a game with huge ramifications, which comes next.
So a stunning performance from Mike Warburton before the break there. 102.53 average, a high checkout of 100, 4 out of 9 on the doubles, and it blows this group wide open. As you can see, 2 players on 8 and 2 on 6. Only 3 can go through. Twice Mike Warburton has faced players who would have gone through if they beat him, and twice he has beaten them. Now Darryl Pilgrim, top of the table, he's back in that position again. If he wins this match against John Worsley, he will book his place at finals night. But Worsley, of course, very much in the mix himself and can join the top 2 on 8 points if he gets a victory here to follow up a win in his first match. And of course, we still do have that scenario where we could have all 4 tied on 10. So let's see if Pilgrim can be the 4th name on the finals night list, or whether Worsley sets up this rather thrilling finale. Back to Mason Henry.
Thanks, Murph. Well, it is John Worsley with 2 of the now 300-plus averages in this Group B. And these two treated us to an absolute Super Series classic last night. It was eventually won by Darrell Pilgrim 4-3. It was a match where he produced 80% on his double. There's a 120 out, 96.12. And what made it special, there was a sequence there. He took the 120 out. He went for the treble 20. Was just underneath, and it was an absolute blocker. And he went ball, ball. And the very next leg, Worsley took out 156 to make it 3-3.
First leg, John
it was
to
a
throw
cracker,
first.
and Worsley lost with an average
Game
of
on.
103.41. Well, he didn't quite trump that last time out. It was another 100-plus average, 66% on the doubles, 101.45 and a 4-3 win against a very, very good
93.
Mike Gillett. Last time out, Darrell Pilgrim went down 4-2 to Warby with an 86.53.
125.
If we're going to describe this group, we'd probably describe it like an Avril Lavigne song. It's a bit complicated.
I'll have to take your word for it. I'm sure she's very talented.
96.
I could see the cogs whirling round there. But Pilgrim's got to be a little bit careful, even though he's in that position where if it was pretty much any game he plays, he can go through in.
46.
At some point, that wiggle room's going to run out quite quickly.
If he loses here, the wiggle room will be gone. Because he will
60.
be joined by John Worsley on 8 points. And then if Warby picks up a win, we'll have 4 on 8.
Disgusting darts.
135.
Put it this way, the abacus hasn't got dust on it today, has it?
No, it's been
93.
moving around like a pinball machine. Just got to watch himself here, Darrell. Looked in a great
57.
position to maybe force a break, a throw, but 138 is a toughie.
Especially from the position he was in, 195 with his opponent 159. You want to at least try and leave yourself on a treble to double combo.
82 left, I do believe. Balls the shot. Oh,
127.
I don't think he could have put that
Darrell
any
require
more in the middle if he
138.
put it in by hand. And he's going to be back.
86.
3 at double
Johnny require
16
32.
for 1-0.
Game
He
show the
makes
first
no
leg,
mistake
John Worsley.
whatsoever, and he pounces upon what's been another uncharacteristically slow start for Darrell Pilgrim in a game.
Second leg,
16
Darrell
dart.
to throw first.
Hold a throw there for
Game
John
on.
Worsley, but it still feels like Pilgrim can still progress his way through the levels. Maybe we'll see it here in this particular leg.
125.
A couple of dirty deflections. I've just taken it away from the target.
Oh, 125.
The traditional FDM. If the first dart goes in like that,
140.
you tend to see as a minimum a 2 treble visit. No wonder why he's one of the most prolific 180 hitters outside the tour card system.
I don't think this guy's too far behind him.
180.
He needs to. Very similar pace. And sometimes you just get two players that gel. It's very much like the phrase where styles make fights. And I think that's quite apt here. And that was proven in their encounter last night.
Everybody needs a dance partner. In this case, they've got a darts
140.
partner.
Require 102.
Will they be conjoined at one apiece?
Well, he got a look at 138 in the last leg, and he's
39.
getting a look at 102 in this one.
Require 56.
It's Worsley with the opportunity to give us our third 11 darter of the night.
I suppose a
Game
12
short
will
of the second
do.
leg, John Worsley.
Wowzers. Standard tonight is off the hook.
Third leg, John to throw first. Game on.
This is Champions Week, everyone, where the best go toe-to-toe, throw for throw, and even some magical numbers might not be good enough. And the thing with Worsley, we mentioned it in the previous game,
60.
he is making very good stuff look very, very routine. Just the way he goes about it, his whole aura, his whole demeanour, just takes every leg
96.
exactly the same. You won't see him get too high and you won't see him get too low.
Well, what tells me is he's used to playing. Well, he's former tour card holder, so he's played against the cream at that level,
140.
and he's very comfortable playing. Well, he expects. When you expect and it's normal, that's probably why he's playing
85.
in this manner. For him, this is a piece of toast.
And I don't mean this in any disrespect to any other player, but having just come off
59.
the Pro Tour, he will be used to much bigger, badder fish in the deep blue darting sea.
Absolutely. And he's locked horns with pretty much the vast majority.
60.
He had some wins over some of the biggest names in the sport.
$138.
Needs two trebles. Or
50.
a combination of the ball
John,
and a
you
treble.
require 104.
Got six at this. Maybe thinking, get it done in three, son. Oof.
Just kissing underneath the wire.
Treble 16.
56.
He'll be back at 48 for 3-0.
Back to the 16th corridor upon his return, and Darryl Pilgrim's facing a scenario smack bang in the face maybe we didn't expect at the beginning of the night, and that is the scenario
60.
where he's looking and
John, you
lurking
require 48.
right behind his shoulder. There's now a couple of players potentially breathing down his neck. It's going to be Tots or Worsley. He just double checks with the referee as to what bet it went in because it was close to the wire.
Game
And he
short of
finds the
third leg,
tops,
John
and he's
Worsley.
just so efficient. 3-0, done in 45 darts. That is par for the
Fourth leg,
course
Darryl to
darts.
throw first. Game on.
And it's too much for Darryl Pilgrim right now.
101.
That was the longest leg of the match there, that 17 darter, isn't it? I mean, it's not a bad leg at all. It just felt long on the back of what we've seen in leg 2.
180.
Absolutely flying.
And he's elevating and kicking towards the finishing line. Michael Phelps-esque.
90. $100.
If he gets through, we've been talking about players who could sneak under the radar. I don't think we've even perhaps spoken about John Worsley in the same
44.
glowing terms that we have other players this week. Which he may feel is uncalled for when you consider what he's achieved in his career.
135.
Very nearly second 180 in the leg.
$96. John, you require 86.
Treble 18, double 16. It'll be interesting which option it will. 64 left. He chased the treble in the hope of leading.
38. Darryl, you
7. He
require
wasn't going to risk
170.
giving Pilgrim a go at the 170. would have been a huge ask, but this is massive in terms of leg difference.
96.
If this goes,
John, you require
Pilgrim will
48.
remain on 8 points and down to +5. Worsley will go top of the table.
38.
But 2 match darts have
Darryl
come and
requires
gone, and so
74.
it's a Hail Mary 74 here for Darryl Pilgrim. It's going to be 1 dart at tops to save his skin.
54.
He misses it, and maybe the Pilgrim pendulum
John,
may
you
begin
require
to
10.
swing as Worsley returns for double 5 for a 4-0 win,
Game,
which now
shot,
puts him in a
match,
slightly more
John
perilous
Worsley.
position. As for the Womble, well, he's moving free at the top of the group. He finds himself on 8 points. There's 3 players that find themselves on 8 points. And for Darryl Pilgrim, who had the perfect night on Thursday, he's potentially seeing his hopes of tomorrow night action begin to slip between his fingertips. A 98.5 average for John Worsley. That's down on his performance against Mike Gillett. That's the level he's playing at this evening. 4 out of 7 when it came to the doubles. As a Pilgrim, an 85-95, and he's going to have to pick something up here in the final couple of games of his evening. As we take a short break, upon our return, we're going to see Mike Gillett in action. It's an all-Welsh affair. He takes on Mike Warburton, and that's coming up after this short break.
Well, what an evening it's been so far here at the Super Series. What a day it's been. I mean, we thought this afternoon was dramatic, but tonight is turning into something really, really special. A little bit complicated as well.
Yeah, we've got that scenario. We could end up with 4 players all on 10 points come the end of the session, and it's going to come down to leg difference and maybe not just legs won, legs lost.
Well, let's have a look at the table. Look, Daryl Pilgrim, Mace, was top of the table before the night started. Twice he's gone up, knowing a win would put him through. Because of how results have gone, he might not even be in that position next time he plays. How must he be feeling right now?
Yeah, I've been there myself. I did that on the Thursday in the Group C, and I was just chasing that one win, and it took me 3 goes. So maybe that would be the case with Daryl. I mean, it's not like he's played particularly badly. He's walked into some absolute savage performances, and well, Warby put himself right in the mix, hasn't he, with 2 wins. And that performance last time out, his last 3 legs of the match, he averaged 125.25. He continues in that vein of form. He may find himself top in a couple of games' time.
Yeah, and John Worsley as well now finds himself top because of that 4-0 win, putting 4 legs on his own leg difference, taking them off Daryl Pilgrim.
Yeah, absolutely. And with stunning performances again. I mean, yeah, good luck working this one out.
And Scott Taylor, he's been in that position as well. He would have gone through had he won his last match, but Mike Warburton beat him. So, yeah, somebody is going to feel really hard done by come the end of the evening.
Yeah, and our next game is massive for Warby, especially because a win there, and then we will have 4 on 8, and that certainly sets up the potential for having 4 on 10, and you've got to work it all out, pal.
Yeah, I'll try and keep you informed the best I can. Right, this is Champions Week in Series 3, but Series 4 gets underway next week, and we're going to take a look at the players that will be in action in the very first week, and there are some interesting names in there. Large, Cox, Cumming. Who else catches your eye there, mate?
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Wesley Harms, and of course our first Oceanic representative in the ADC is Mal Cumming, and then just below him there, Wesley Harms and Yuri Broer as well, representatives from ADC Europe.
Yeah, it shows that ADC link is strengthening as well. We've had ADC qualifiers from the UK doing great things, but now from around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And on a side note, David Evans had a good run on the Challenge Tour today, and as did Robert Rickwood. And in fact, a few of those seem to be coming into next week in good form.
Right, well, that's next week. Gets underway on Monday, 9:30 AM, but still plenty to sort this week, including dishing out the £20,000 cheque tomorrow night. And Mike Warburton is still in contention for that. He's going to need to win at least one of his last 2 games, probably both, and he takes on Mike Gillett in this one. Can you see Warby pulling it off?
Yeah, the only problem may be that final match, because it may come down to a straight shootout. I suggested that to Henry a little earlier. That Warburton-Worsley match could be the one that decides our final qualifier.
Right, from the 2 Chris's to the 2 Mikes on the stage, and the man with the mic in the commentary box, Henry Deacon.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, so Gillett up against Warburton, and if Warby wins this one, 4 players on 8 points, and if you thought this afternoon was dramatic, well, we may just have another thing coming here this evening. Could have a scenario where it could literally boil down to legs difference to decide all 3 spots. Whatever you're planning to do on this Friday night, make sure it's in front of the telly and watching this gripping conclusion. We're going to find out the final few spots for tomorrow night's Champions Night. Just a quick reminder, it's a 7:30 start tomorrow evening on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel before we go live on Spotty Stuff TV from 10. We'll have the semi-finals and final, and someone is going to reign under the confetti here in Portsmouth. Nice little lineup for next week, though, mate, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we both did well there, not to corpse.
Put it this way. Game 1 is between Moreno Blom and Danny Laubit at 9:35 next week. Game 2 is going to start at 9:36.
Game on.
Yeah, it will not hang about. And a lot of those players, well, the vast majority, have been in action on the Challenge Tour over the
123.
last 24 hours or so. A lot of good players coming in red-hot form. That looks a very tough week, doesn't it?
It's going to be a lot of comings and goings.
100.
There'll be a few people giving it large.
Stay out of harm's way.
140.
Yeah, Mike Gillett now playing the role of spoiler. And we've seen how effective that can be today at the expense of Steve West, unfortunately,
58.
was beaten by a player who was out of every equation in Justin Hood. It cost Steve West a place in tomorrow night's
100.
final.
And Mike's one of those players that religiously watches every dart in this particular competition. So he would have known about that scenario going into this game.
$140.
And
Mike, you require 100.
he plays to win every game. He literally gives every dart absolutely everything.
He plays with this absolute intensity. Now, for Mike, a bit of an equipment change. He's changed his darts from game 1 to game 2. Now,
58.
they were gram heavier, kind of closer to the sort of weight of dart he usually throws to see if he can get a little bit of rhythm back into his game for the end of his Champions Week campaign.
Well, if you're going to experiment, we've seen it today from Jelle Klassen.
100.
You know, he was
Mike, you require
mathematically
80.
still in the mix, but he thought, well, there's no better time to maybe experiment. Doesn't mean you're not giving it everything. You just
Mike Gillis.
use that opportunity to try out a new set for the next time you compete.
It's a bit like
Second
a
leg,
football
Mike
manager
Warburton
experimenting
to
in the
throw
5th round of the
first.
FA Cup against a
on.
lower league opposition.
Exactly that. $15 dart hold there for Mike
58.
Gillett, that is.
I was going to say, I'm going to stick my neck out here, and I think Mike might win this game.
You don't say.
All the
83.
hard-hitting opinions, mate. You know me.
Yeah, controversial, you.
$59. $57.
Like a Rolls Royce when he's in this kind of mood, Mike Warburton.
40.
There's a few cars I don't own, Henry.
To be fair, I thought the only motor he didn't own was a
140.
Motorola.
Did have one back in the day. That was the flip one.
$100.
I mean, what we're seeing so far this evening is two players that's really grabbing this group by the scruff of the neck in Warby, in Worsley.
33. Mike, you require 144.
Yeah, the two chasing the essential win are now, well, there's three of them, isn't there? Worsley, Pilgrim and Taylor. But the way this group's working out, Warby continues
120.
to produce wins. We very much have I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to end up with 4 on 10. It's going to go to leg difference.
Stop it.
83.
Literally has
Mike, you require 24.
every dynamic needed. I remember when I said to you that match against Warby and Worsley is going to be a shootout. I think that will be the one.
$18.
Sit tight, folks. Batten
Mike,
down the
you require
hatches.
105.
Maybe you're having a little libation or a cup of cocoa. Yeah, a couple of cheeky biscuits.
85.
Maybe a nice cheese board
Mike,
and
you
a
require
glass of red.
6.
Something a bit gouty. Enjoy.
Well, the pubs are allowed to be open a little bit later this weekend.
$4. Mike, you require 20.
What Warby thought of that, and he's just not been able to replicate
Game shot on the second leg, Mike Gillett.
performance he produced against Scott Taylor. Very average.
Third leg, Mike Gillett to throw
Very
first.
impressive, 102.53. And back end of that match, went out in 13, 11, and 12. Across that period of play, he was averaging 125.25. That's what he has in the locker. Not just one leg, it was 3 on the spin.
96.
He will be one of those players that, and he's in a list of a lot of other players that, if he can harness a B game, then he can be dangerous against anyone in the world.
100.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the vast majority of the players we see here, and obviously plenty of them are different ends of the spectrum in terms of their career path. But for me,
60.
the vast majority of them, the reason they don't have a tour card is not because they're not good enough. They don't have a good enough B game, or the B game doesn't exist. And that's the difference between the top players and everybody else. And in a lot of individual sports, you see a lot of that in snooker as well. They all pop balls, but when they're having an off day, it's how you harness your talent
58.
into basically accepting,
Like
right,
you require
I'm
124.
not playing very well today. I've got another way to win. Something that Mark Williams is incredible at, and Selby, and
44.
the guys that maybe not as naturally talented as your Brissels or your Jimmy Whites and that kind of player, the Trumps of this world.
140. Mike, you require 80.
Even with the 140, he's still a long way adrift, and this will put it
Game shot in the third leg, Mike Gillett.
a massive dent in the qualification criteria for Wolby.
Fourth leg, Mike Warburton to throw first.
It would mean
Emo.
that we would not have to worry about that dreaded scenario of every player on 10 points.
No, because he's only going to have one to play, so he can only get to 8. And he's
55.
the best he can get to if he loses 4-0 here will be -4. And for me, that's it. He's done. He joins Gillett on the naughty step.
95.
Effectively, he needs snookers from this particular position.
And a couple of free balls, pal.
45.
He's behind the 8 ball, but he's right by the pocket.
95.
And that example you say of not having a B game. Just look at the difference in the averages. That range, something that
100.
Matt Edgar talks about when he studies players' performance levels. The range in between, let's say, his best game of the night,
96.
the 102.53, and this performance is over 22 points. It's just too big a range.
You're mentioning about that 4 players on 10-point scenario. Now, I've been speaking to John Curtis Murphy,
140.
who's basically told us it's never happened before here at the Super Series, where all 4 players have been logged down on 10 points in a Group B campaign.
100. Mike require 161.
Impressed that someone knows that. That doesn't work here. Wow.
Game shot of the fourth leg,
How
Mike
about that?
Warburton.
Another example of how much ability he possesses.
Fifth leg, Mike Gillett to throw first.
He needs another 3 legs like that. Although 2 of the 3 legs Gillett has won. He's 1 in 15.
100.
So you would think you'd have to produce sort of similar levels to that match against Scott Taylor a couple of games ago.
And look, even though we're at Champions Week, every player is still playing for their place going
100.
forward, because you look at the competition for spots here at the Super Series, it's as high now as it ever has been.
Well, it's gonna start to get, you know, real tough now that
81.
everything's sort of pretty much, well, it is back to normal. So the options for people that we wanted to play initially, I was looking through that Challenge Tour list today, and there's still plenty of players that have yet to play because they either lived in countries that
100.
prevented them from making the trip.
Well, it's to a point where there's some established names that aren't even going to get full weeks in the next phase.
Yeah.
93.
That's the competition for spots in this.
I think I may be on standby.
Commentators Week. And no, I'm not
16.
playing in it.
That's a shame. It's a guaranteed +4 and in the leg difference and a 2-pointer.
Glenn was hoping I was in it so he could pick up a televised win.
Oh, harsh Henry. He'd be sending you pictures of all of his trophies.
He knows I'm only kidding with him. Right then, Gillett.
41.
127 for the game.
127.
Well, it can still be done, the Hink shot. Go on, Mike, go for it. Go for the ball. Go on, you know you want to. He did go for it as well.
94.
We're going to have a little bit of fun as well. Weiss is up on the stage, and why not? He's deserved this opportunity. He's earned this opportunity by winning week 11, and what a competitive week it was as well.
140.
And to beat the likes of Chris Lamb and Cam
33.
Crabtree, who are very high up on the challenge to order of merit to get here. But that's a slip.
Game, shot, and the match.
Wow.
Mike Gillett.
Well, has that ended the hopes of his fellow Welsh international? That was a tough one to take for Warby on the back of some absolutely blistering performances. Could well be that his race has run. An average of 90.76 for Gillett, 87.72 for Warby. No 180s in that contest. When we come back, a huge game for two players. John Worsley takes on Scott Taylor.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where it was looking like a really dramatic climax, but we're going to show you the table now ahead of this clash between Scott Taylor and John Worsley. Both players on 8 points, but I can confirm, because of that defeat for Mike Warburton, John Worsley is actually already through. He cannot be caught on leg difference now by Warburton, so he is the 4th player in finals night, even ahead of this match. Scott Taylor would join him if he wins this match, of course, because he would get to 10 points. So Worsley looking to rubber stamp that progression. Taylor is looking to secure his spot at finals night in game 7 of tonight's 10. And to talk you through it, it's Henry Deacon and Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, we're getting to the number crunching stage, aren't we, here at the Super Series? Not that John Worsley has to worry about that. He can now try and just play himself into form ahead of a big night for him tomorrow. Scott Taylor looking to rubber stamp his way there tomorrow evening, the 31-year-old for Bolton, former Challenge Tour event winner.
Yeah, just to try and explain that for you, Warby has 1 to play. He's on 6 points, but -7. So the best he can get to if he wins 4-0 against Worsley would be -3.
First leg, John.
Worsley on
+7.
+7. If he lost 4-0, 4-0, would only end up on -1.
But being realistic, if Warby's going to get through, he has to catch Scott Taylor, because even in the case of Dale Pilgrim, if he loses both of his games by 4 legs to nil, he'd be on -3 in the legs difference. If Warburton wins his final game 4-0, it'll be -3, and it'll go down to the legs 1 metric to determine
41.
who would go through from that particular position.
Yeah, Warby will be hoping Worsley does a job on Taylor.
Which, on the evidence of play this
99.
evening, is very much a conceivable possibility.
Yeah, I think he'd do a job on most people the way he's played tonight.
100.
If it goes down to legs 1, Mike Warburton would go through in that scenario with Dale Pilgrim. In the -3 scenario.
136.
So effectively, Dale Pilgrim's a leg away from going through.
140. John, you require 129.
129 for Worsley. He's got 6 at it here. He doesn't have to chase the bullseye if he doesn't want to. He's looking up for 18 there, it looks like. Or maybe down for 10s.
89.
Hands his tops. He's been outstanding tonight, hasn't he?
Level above the rest.
60.
I'm a little bit worried
John, you
about
require 40.
Scott Taylor. He did pick up that win against Gillett, but it wasn't
Game, John,
particularly
the first leg, John Worsley.
a pretty performance. Averaged 84, missed 10 darts at a double.
Second leg,
And
Scott to throw first.
Averaged 84 again in a 4-2 defeat to what was a
125.
very impressive Mike Warburton. So he'll be looking just to put in a decent performance, even if he goes down here, because
58.
he has to play Darryl Pilgrim in his final match. This is his penultimate game, match 3.
190.
To make him feel a whole lot better. Do you think there's some similarities in what we were discussing earlier between Scott Taylor and Warby in terms of that lack of high-quality B
45.
game?
Well, we saw it. We've kind of seen it in evidence, and we've got a big enough sample of a player like Scott to have a look at it now. And
83.
of course, we mentioned that the way that he got through to championship, he played really well in that final against Andy Bolton. But there's just the odd times in big games this week, and the Mike Warburton game in Group A, the prime example, where he has at 1 or 2 occasions been found wanting.
And that was very much the case on the Wednesday, wasn't it? Where
Game, John, the second
what could
leg,
go wrong
Scott
went wrong
Taylor.
for him, but that is stunning. 12 dart holder throw. 113 checkout.
Third leg, John to throw first. Game on.
It's been a high quality affair in terms of legs 1 in this particular counter. That last one was won in a 12. The first was won in a 13. So 25 darts for the winner of the first 2 legs split 1
100.
apiece. That was a vicious bounce out. That sounds as if it went halfway back down the oche.
77.
Real cracked off it. May have caught the section where the wires actually cross.
I think it nearly hit Danny McNamara. We might have to get the first aid kit out. Where's health and
75.
safety?
All going off here. Maybe we need a floor cam.
$60.
Then we have shoe cam, table cam. Might as well have floor cam.
Comms cam.
No one wants to see that.
134.
The good news is that the referee's shoes aren't blinding the lights at the minute.
140.
Do you have any public response to Owen Binks' tweet earlier?
58.
No, he's fairly irrelevant, isn't he? Oh,
I think we've just got a little bit of a...
I think it's been corrected. Swiftly.
60.
Well done, whoever's
John
doing that
O'Hara,
in the
134.
production suite. Oh, it's only banter between me and Owen. Ooh, cheeky.
Game shot on the third leg, John Worsley.
Outstanding, isn't it? He is absolutely flying tonight.
One
And
thing,
I say the reaction, it's not, there's
Fourth
no
leg
surprise
substitute
there, is there?
for
It's like,
Roberts.
well, yeah, that's
Game
what I
on.
went for. It should go in.
134, and it's just like, you know what? It's just another leg on the ball. It's just another 15.
140.
Owen supports a random football team, doesn't he?
I'm not going there. He took me and Abigail Davis to watch a Colchester United game back when we were doing the 10 o'clock
134.
starts on a Saturday evening. The most entertaining bit about that football match was watching Owen Binks
58.
watch that football match. Let's say he doesn't keep his cards close to his chest when it comes to football.
Is he a shouter?
Oh, he's one of the crew, and he gets the badge and everything.
134.
You should see him off.
97.
Well, I'd show him passion for his team of where he was born. I quite like that. There's plenty of glory hunters in football, isn't there?
Yeah, he's a good lad, is our Owen.
95.
A part of a big operation, really. It's made Series 3 happen. One of a number of referees, including Danny McNamara, Justin
44.
Bradshaw, Charlie Courtefine,
John O'Hara,
Paul Hinks.
138.
Even Gavin Roderick had a couple of days on the stick as well. Marco Meyer, least we forget. All part of the team that make it happen here.
24.
If Owen does fancy a bit of a push and a pull and a roll around on the cobbles, then I'm more than accommodating.
Let me know when that is and I'll come and watch. He did say in the VT,
64.
banked himself against anyone in the Super Series
John
staff.
O'Hara, 114.
I'd like to put it down to the gargle, but he doesn't drink. He's teetotal. Here we go. Treble 18. Tops. The 3-1.
94.
This is a must for
Scott
Taylor.
O'Hara, 98.
Imperative, even if he does get beat, it's not by a big margin.
Opportunities against John Worsley is like getting
John
fed
O'Hara,
breadcrumbs by
20.
Hansel and Gretel, because even though you're getting fed small, minute crumbs, you still feel trapped. And trapped Taylor is. 3-1 down he is.
More bad news. That was a break of throw. Worsley
Fifth
going
leg,
along
John
again.
throw
Real
first.
big average. 98 the
Game on.
average for Worsley. Not too shabby from Taylor. 92.28. And he is being fed crumbs. He's only had 3 darts at a double in the whole
58.
match, and I think they've been served up in ones. One at the 1-1-3, which he hit, one there, and one in another leg.
81.
Not getting a second chance.
When you look at the scoring power pack, prior to this visit,
140.
that was his first 2 treble visit of a 140 plus in this particular game. All of his scoring prior to that had been in that 100 plus
41.
column, but it was a lot of them, 8 in total. He does do a lot of switching down to the 19s and the 18s as well.
Yeah, 137s and a 134.
38.
Ironically, he should have started down in that visit.
You tell him.
$120.
He's getting a bit of exercise. Is our Danny up there?
A game of dodgems for him tonight.
He's good. Nothing wrong with the counting in this visit.
71.
And he could do it once again within the space of 15 darts. That's just John Worsley's memo this evening.
81. John, you require
His
94.
running average for the night is staggering.
Tops. Out of what will be another incredible performance.
54.
But he is going to come back.
Yeah, that would have given him a running average for the night had either of those darts gone in excess of 100.
96. John, you require 40.
Become the first player to make it onto double figures in this group.
Game
Double
shot
10
and a
for
match,
points number
John
10
Worsley.
for John Worsley, and it means that Scott Taylor will be precariously lurking down the back of his neck on Mike Warburton now. Worsley, a 4-1 winner. Look at the celebration there from the Wample. We're going to see him tomorrow night, and he's going to be a contender tomorrow night if he carries on playing these sort of precocious darts that he has been, especially tonight and in spells yesterday. A 4-1 success then for Worsley. Next up, Darryl Pilgrim in action up against Mike Gillett off the back of his first win here at Champions Week.
Well, on we go, getting closer to finals night and a little closer to working out who will be there. John Worsley, well, he was actually through before a dart was thrown in that previous match, but he went on to win it anyway. A good performance tonight from him, on to 10 points. Daryl Pilgrim is now looking to follow. He's been, well, a win away seemingly all night. Now he's just a leg away, Daryl Pilgrim. He needs just one leg to book his place at finals night. Scott Taylor having lost, well, he's the one vulnerable now. Mike Warburton looking to chase him down. That pair will play in the last couple of matches, so we'll come on to that in a moment. But this one is Daryl Pilgrim against Mike Gillett, who, of course, has just won for the first time in this group when he got that win over Warby. So, can Pilgrim finally put it to bed? Let's find out. As I said, just one leg needed. And to talk you through, well, a bit more than one leg, Henry Deacon and Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Chris. Dowell is on the verge of a pilgrimage through to Champions Night tomorrow evening. Just one leg, as you say, will get it done against Mike Gillett, who this evening, you can have a look maybe at the odds from the odds compilers before the off and before the running in this particular contest between the pair. Well, Dowell Pilgrim's a 4-11 favourite. Gillett's a 2-1 outsider. But if you look at the numbers from the pair this evening, Gillett, okay, we caveat the 79 average. His previous two performances, a 91.8 and a 90.76. Impressive double ratios in that.
First
3
leg,
from
Daryl
7 and
to
4 from 6.
Throwers.
However, Dowell Pilgrim, so far tonight, an 86.53 against Mike Warburton, followed up by an 85.95, which was pretty much a scoring average against John Worsley in his second game. So that 2-1 may represent value, or Dowell Pilgrim may do that.
What a waste of time that was. No, you're right. If you look at the numbers, they can't be ignored. He's playing better right now than Daryl Pilgrim has been playing. But will he just eventually be able to? It's nerves, obviously. He knows he just needs the one win, and he's conscious of that. And I'm not sure whether he's aware that he just needs the one leg, and he will be safe.
The atmosphere is changed here. There is dead silence
81.
around this building, knowing the significance of the next few minutes
Well,
and
it's
the
like
next few
there's
hours.
nobody next door.
It's like a ghost town there.
140.
You can see it on Pilgrim's face. You can see it on the players' faces.
It was evident in his opening game, wasn't it, against Warby, and then even more so in that performance when because I literally left here right at the end of that match and walked through, and he came in and he was not an happy bunny.
The only person having fun right now is Mike Gillett, because he can free roll. He knows that no matter what happens, he's not going to be there tomorrow night. Of course, it's not a position he wants to be put in, but he could play with a little bit of freedom, whereas even though...
And I think he's been doing that all night.
96.
Hence those back-to-back good performances.
And despite only needing a leg to progress, there's still that pressure to perform for Pilgrim. This to send him through. 8-8. We can add the name of Daryl Pilgrim into tomorrow night's fabled 6 here at the Super Series. The RSVP is in the post for Mr. P. Daryl Pilgrim is going to be there.
Doing it with a 15-dart hold of throw. He doesn't know. I don't think Worsley realised, because the way he celebrated at the end of the last match, I'm pretty sure he thought he had to win to be safe.
Kicked off both legs, Max.
180.
There was a scenario earlier on this afternoon where I was watching up on the balcony with Bates, and I think he thought he was out in one of his penultimate game of the group.
Well, I thought that, but then the way he celebrated winning the match, as I thought about it, it's a mess. Yeah, the way he celebrated, I think he realised. I think it was maybe a bit of kidology, and he was just trying to shake off any nerves by
140.
trying to be relaxed and have a bit of fun. He's probably looked at the scores and thought, I've gone 180,
65.
140 here.
Mike, you require
And
121.
I'm not in front. 140 ton, 140 for Gillett. Trouble 17 and ball. Oh, next door. He's had a lot of that in this group.
30. Darrell, you require 116.
And then for 2-0. Tops.
76.
Wire bender.
Yep.
Mike, you require 91.
Could hear how close that was because it clipped the wire. Double 16.
59. Darrell, you require
Not to be
40.
for Gillett, and so Pilgrim will return for that tops, for that break, for that 2-0 lead. That's not usually a bad guide for Dell, but that drags below, and so double 10
Game
is
shot
found
the
last
second leg,
start in
Darrell
hand, and
Pilgrim.
despite the little bit of a mess around on the doubles, it was still a 15 darter to break the throw of Mike Gillett to lead 2-0.
Yep.
Third leg,
Back-to-back
Darrell to
15s.
throw first. Game on.
He's missed 4 darts at a double, and he's still, of course, by virtue of those 15 darters, averaging 100.20.
140.
I think you're right when you think that he still thinks he needs to do more to go through. You can just see it in the face.
100.
Usually you'll see a player that once they get that leg that they need to accrue, just naturally begin to relax. There's none of that about Darrell Pilgrim right now. If anything, he's getting better. He's more determined.
Well, we
100.
put a laptop monitor in there, didn't we? Just so the players could keep up to speed with what's going on.
81.
Maybe they just don't want to get too engrossed in the permutations, so they just sort of take a quick look at it.
121.
Well, they say the easiest way to get through is to win games. So if you do that, it doesn't matter what else happens.
Yeah. My attitude was just keep playing until they tell you you're in or you're out.
81. Darrell, you require 140.
Did try and drag you off the board, promise. Put 'em high. Put 'em
100.
high.
Tops after 12. Another opportunity. Another leg in that 5 visit range.
99. Darrell, you require 40.
Tens again. Tens
Game
found
shot the
again.
third leg, Darrell
And
Pilgrim.
even better in leg 3. That was a 14. The average climbs to 102.48.
Fourth leg,
Gillett
Mike to throw first.
Doing too
Game
much
on.
wrong. He's averaging over 90 and has only had 1 dart at a double.
100.
In a game where you would have felt that he's had to put in a push, Pilgrim's done exactly that here so far. Going to play his way back into contention tomorrow night.
70.
And it is going to be intriguing to see how the bookmakers price proceedings up. Just off of a first smattering and a first... Oh, hello!
140.
Prime 180, Mike!
Or not.
Showboating Mr. Gillett. I'm sure the kids won't let him get away with that on Monday morning.
34.
If it would have gone in, it'd have been clipped up and gone viral in the school. Do they call them
81.
schools, or are they now colleges or whatever? Are they techs or...
I give up.
Yeah, same.
All I know is I got some qualifications from there. And some scars.
135.
Who's not giving up? Mike Gillett. Still trying his absolute socks off.
95. $56. Mike, you require 85.
Oh, he's got 6 from here from this 85 Gillett to get his first leg of the game on the board and to stop the runaway train that's been
69.
Darryl Pilgrim so far in this game. It's, compared to the rest of the match, a severely below par leg.
121. Mikey requires 16.
So double 8 to get one back.
Game
double
shot
8
before
found,
leg,
3-1.
Mike Gillett.
Longest leg of the match, that. 16 dart hold for Gillett.
Fifth
So
leg
everything else was
barrel
in
to
5 visits and
Croker.
less.
Game on. $96.
Just a reminder that tomorrow night's action is completely sold out. So the only way to watch it is by tuning in to us from 7:30 on the
83.
MODUS Super Series YouTube channel, and then live on Sporty Stuff TV from 10 o'clock tomorrow evening to see who's going to join Conan Whitehead and Raymond Smith as Super Series champions.
140.
Have you picked out a winner yet?
140.
I just wonder whether Jacob Tay is going to be the Denmark of darts. Because he's got a natural... It may not be an A game that wins tomorrow night, potentially, because of the
95.
occasion. And so if we're looking at players whose B game can stand the test of time, Jacob Taylor's could well be the one.
81. Darryl, you require
Yeah, a lot of the
170.
players will be feeling the heat of potentially taking away the 20 grand. He may be the one that deals with that proposition the better.
125.
Well, we've seen Pilgrim affected tonight just by needing that one win.
And he's won 3 CDC titles, which are streamed.
Yes, good point.
97. Darryl, you require 45.
So then, to complete the win, Pilgrim wants 45. It's going to be 2 in his hand, a double 16.
Game
Only
shot
needs the
and
1
the
to get the
match,
better of
Darryl
Mike
Pilgrim.
Gillett by 4 legs to 1. He only needed the 1 leg to go through. He secured it for sure with 2 points by getting the better of Gillett by 4 legs to 1 and doing so with a remarkable performance as well. The average just ticked underneath a ton, a 14 darter to finish. It was a high quality affair. Mike Gillett a 93 average, and he only had a couple of darts at double, and that was in the leg that he won. So Pilgrim, a 4-1 winner. We're definitely going to see him in the final tomorrow night. Mike Warburton wants to be there, but he's going to have to do something quite drastic against John Worsley next.
Welcome back. Right, 2 games left to go and just 1 place left at finals night from Group B. It will come, and here is the table confirmation then that John Worsley and Daryl Pilgrim have both made it already. The last place will be filled by either Scott Taylor or Mike Warburton. I'm just going to take a moment to run you through the criteria for splitting players if they are level, because that could happen. So, of course, first it's points, then leg difference, and it goes to legs won, head-to-head wins, and then overall average for the group. And there is still a scenario where it could come down to that between Warburton and Taylor. For Mike, though, in this match against John Worsley, he must win 4-2 or better to have any chance ahead of Scott Taylor's final match of the day. That is coming up after this one. So that's what Warby needs to do. And we'll see if that happens. And then we'll fill you in with further permutations ahead of the last match of the night. Calculators ready, boys? Back to Mace and Henry.
My head hurts.
Yeah, so Warby needs to win.
So Mike Warburton needs a 4-2 win, and Scott Taylor needs a Jacob Taylor, their force of habit this week. Scott Taylor needs to lose 4-0 for everything to be level. And then it'll go down to overall averages, which we can't determine at the minute, because obviously something could happen any which way as far as the averages are concerned. And that might take a little bit of working out, of course. One of the conclusion of the games, we'll know Mike Warburton's sample. Then obviously afterwards, we then have to work out Scott Taylor's sample. And then it might take a couple of minutes to work out if that scenario happens.
First leg, Mike to throw first.
Might be like the Eurovision Song Contest, you know, when we'll have to call up someone from some far-flung capital city to say that the 12 points goes to.
$100.
Well, the main concern for Warby will be just trying to win against this man who's been irresistible
60.
all night. Nightly average well deep into the 90s. Tonight he's produced averages of 101.45, 98.56, 95.57.
70.
Yeah, that's some serious numbers, isn't it?
And the thing is, Mike Warburton, not just a win will do. He can't allow John Worsley to get to 3 legs. Because if he does, and he wins 4-3, it'll be -6. And the worst case scenario as far as Scott Taylor's concerned, if he loses 4-0, would be -5. And the thing is, Mike Warburton wins this 4-2 on the evidence of Dale Pilgrim's previous performance. There's every chance he could win heavily against Scott Taylor. That's not against Scott Taylor. That's just what Pilgrim's put in his previous match.
But will the intensity be there for Pilgrim, now knowing that he is safely through?
And it's the sort of thing that can go both ways. It either produces your best darts or it can leave something quite lethargic in the system.
60.
Agreed, and he's
Mike,
been put through
85.
the absolute ringer tonight.
Here's Tots of Warburton.
Same could be said for Worsley as well.
75.
We've seen the relief at the end of his last match. Even though we knew he was safe, he didn't.
123.
Horrible
Mike
deflection to the treble
10.
one. You could hear the flight clatter.
Game shot on the first leg, Mike
the
Warburton.
Previous dart, Morby seals leg 1 with a 16-dart hold.
Second leg, John to throw
And it has to be
first.
said, that was a first leg
Game on.
much against the levels we've seen from John Worsley this evening. It was the antithesis of his performances prior. And again, it's what we've literally just mentioned in the previous analogy. He's through, and so the adrenaline that courses through your body naturally wanes out.
Yeah. And if you're slightly fatigued or anything like that, when
60.
that adrenaline leaves your body, the sharpness also leaves your body. The focus goes. You can see that very short release doesn't even get anywhere near the full extension.
140.
Well, a loopy throw, but my goodness, I'm certainly not going to be critical of it. Where if you look at this one, it's a full extension. No flaring of the elbow.
100.
Beautiful.
And if you were to question how much John Worsley enjoys this sport, just have a look at the tattoos on his right arm.
140.
There's a little bit of bully, there's a dartboard, there's a 180 cry on there as well.
Incredible, he's playing at this level. And
100.
he's really only playing
John, you require 136.
local stuff and darts associated with Super League and county, etc. The odd local tournament. Single 19 for tops after 12.
Well, he did say in the winner's interview after week one that there's a lot of things that have been going on recently, and so darts did have to take a little bit of a back step. But this has given him the sort of
60.
competitive play that
John, you
he
require
needs to build his
40.
game back up to the level that he wants, and tops is what he wants for 13 to level the scores up. He's going to come back, but doesn't want to leave this a bit messy if he goes inside.
20. $125. John, you require 20.
Now up for double five. This time Warburton languishing on 56.
Game
But that
John
sneaks
Worsley,
into the corner to
John
level things
Worsley.
up. That's one of the three that Worsley needs to accrue to send Scott Taylor through.
Third leg Mike to throw first.
And so that cushion for
Game on.
Warburton, as the legs go by, are going to begin to vanish and begin to evaporate.
Well, it's one less.
He's effectively
45.
drinking from the cup in the last chance saloon as the barmaid rings the bell for last orders.
$134.
Is it at this point that John Worsley starts to go through the gears yet again? We've seen so
100.
frequently in this Group B.
$85.
There is that overhead angle, seeing the darts enter the board. Flight cam.
100.
A lovely shot, that, isn't it? You can see that angle. His darts really do go in just below
140.
horizontal to the floor, which I think we're going to take a look at in some detail. They're more of an advantage with that
140.
technique,
John, you require
where the
142.
darts sit up. They're more an advantage with the stacking technique, and is it hard to do, which is why less people
58.
have the ability
Mike, you
to
require
stack the dart?
116.
I always feel like I just don't have any control to the flight of the dart in the air.
Game shot in the third
That's a
leg.
super
Mike
shot.
Warburton.
Under enormous pressure.
So what would be
Fourth
great
leg,
as a
John
series
to
if we
throw
took
first.
one person who's never thrown a
Game
dart
on.
before in their life.
Yeah, bit of darts X factor, and literally, yeah, mold them. See how far we can get them, and literally track their
94.
stats.
And it turns out we've unveiled a monster.
100.
Not a T-Rex, a monster. Suppose that's the Super Series mascot now, isn't it? Tungsten the T-Rex.
I'm liking that.
135.
A couple of dinosaurs in the week I played, including myself.
You can get away with saying that.
100.
I am a darting dinosaur, so absolutely.
$60.
Well, from the dinosaur to the womble. Anything goes in this sport.
140.
Credit to Warby here. Averaging
60.
kind of numbers we've seen from
Microwire
Worsley all night.
161.
97.47 the average for Warby as we get to the end of leg 4. Worsley averaging 88.
90. John Uruguay 152.
And if Warby does this and wins this leg, it'll be 3-1 up. Break a throw.
60.
He'll have the darts to
Mike Uruguay 71.
serve it out 4-1, which is one leg better than the minimum requirement.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
really would
Mike
be.
Warburton.
On the levels of Houdini, if he can manage to get away with this.
A 4-1 though
Fifth leg, Mike,
would
two
still
for
mean
overs.
pretty much the same
Game on.
scenario, that you'd need Pilgrim to beat Taylor 4-0. One leg for Taylor in that particular scenario would be enough to see him through.
60.
So basically, Warby's got to win big and then hope. Pray for Pilgrim.
Yeah, if Warby wins this one,
140.
he'll go on to 8 points. And if he wins it here, 4-1, he'll be on -4, won't he?
$100.
So yeah, 4-0, 4-1.
Although how
78.
cool would it be if there was a scenario where it went down to averages? That would be a cool way to go out.
Yeah, so how's Warby doing here? It may be all immaterial.
100.
Warby has to win first, of course.
59.
17 points adrift minus these. That's taking care of that. Needs trebles.
100.
Gets 1 down to a finish.
$60. Mike Uruguay 141.
So to keep himself running in the race going into the last game of Group B, the 141 isn't going to go this time, and so he's got to hope that the Womble won't wonder us with a 164.
Yeah, it's like Worsley is one of those type of players that
43.
needs that
John Uruguay
psychological
164.
intensity to perform at his optimum level.
$60. Mike Uruguay 98.
To keep the race going right until the very last. Whereas he's going to get a go with the 104.
58. John Uruguay 104.
Warby And his supporters will have everything crossed, and he will get a chance to win this one
54.
4-1.
Mike Require 40.
On reflection, this is a great win.
Win, which would give him an outside chance still on
Game,
qualifying
shot,
through
and a
Group
match,
B.
Mike
Warburton
Warburton.
gets the better of Worsley by 4 legs to 1, but now he has got to wait and hope that Pilgrim is pretty much perfect against Scott Taylor in the next game. He's going to have to sit and watch this one out in the practice room now, Mike Warburton, but he's done his end of the bargain. That's all he can do. John Worsley goes into Champions Night tomorrow on the back of a defeat, but Mike Warburton, a 4-1 winner against John Worsley. One final game to come. Scott Taylor needs the solitary leg to progress. He takes on Darryl Pilgrim after this short break.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series on one of those nights where I'm sure you've only been sitting on the edge of your sofa and eating your fingernails for supper. And that is the case for Mike Warburton, who is now watching this last match, knowing only one possible outcome can put him through. Scott Taylor is taking on Darryl Pilgrim. Pilgrim already through to finals night ahead of this one, looking to top the group. John Worsley through with him, and Taylor is just a solitary leg away. The only scenario that would see Taylor fall out and Warburton win through is a 4-0 win for Pilgrim. I will put it out there that Darryl won this match 4-1 in the very first match of this group yesterday. Really dramatic day of darts, a double header that has been full of gripping games and incredible stories is about to come to an end. Is there one final twist? Let's find out with Henry Deacon and Chris Mason.
Chris, thank you very much indeed, and very shortly we'll know all 6 players that are going to be in tomorrow night's Champions Night here at the Modus Super Series. They have got a 1 in 6 chance of picking up the trophy, lifting the jackpot and a cheque for £20,000 and adding themselves to a little bit of darting history along the way. Darryl Pilgrim's definitely there. He's looking to finish off the group. Well, he is going to be possibly the top dog in the group. A win will guarantee that. As for Scott Taylor, he needs the solitary leg here to see himself through to the Super 6, to the Super Finale. And it is he who's got the darts in the first leg.
24.
And so, after all of the group stage action over the last 5 days, it suppose and perhaps fittingly, we're going to wait until the final game to see the final outcome in terms of the final players that are going to be playing at Champions Night.
96.
A man who's been at Champions Night is here with me in the commentary box.
Yes, and it was an enjoyable but a little disappointing ending.
93.
Having lost both of my matches. 4-3, one to Josh Payne.
100.
One I had a dart at tops in to win it. The other I needed 80 and hit a 20 and then slipped into the 1. Didn't get a go and lost them both 4-3.
60.
For whom will the fine margin tomorrow work in favour or against of? That's the question we're going to find out. 7:30 Sporty Stuff TV on the YouTube channel, 10 o'clock Sporty Stuff TV. Taylor might be on the precipice of that leg that he needs. Good luck saying 93. That nearly 1 in the morning.
Yeah, he's potentially 2 visits away. Well, certainly now. Treble 13's the shot. Treble 17 if you want to leave double 10.
$134. Scott require 68.
Flat performance last time out from
48.
John Worsley, probably down
Darryl
to
require 74.
The fact that, as we mentioned, he'd really gone through the ringer tonight just to guarantee qualification.
34. Scott require 20.
Let off.
Is this the moment that sends Scott Taylor into tomorrow night's final? And so the Super 6 at the Super Series are now confirmed. We know the identities of the players now that are going to be throwing for that £20,000 jackpot tomorrow night.
45.
Maybe looking at this wrong, but say he loses 4-1, right?
Legs 1, he goes through.
75.
Okay.
You've got there in the end.
Yeah.
And breathe. I suppose poses the question now. We know the 6 players. Who do you fancy?
134.
Well, I had this conversation with Murph just last weekend and instantly said, because I asked him this very same thing about John Worsley.
51.
Without a flicker. So I thought, why is he... Well, obviously I know John really well and know he's a quality player, but there's a lot of confidence in the selection. And when you have a little dig around and then see the numbers he's capable of producing, which we've now seen firsthand over the last 2 evenings, I think he could be onto something. But you know me and my darting destiny and names on pot lad and all of that. I think it could be Jacob Taylor. And that's not because I think Luke Littler will win.
106.
But because of the manner in which he has somehow found a way into not only this week, but into finals night.
60.
Name could be on the top, but
61.
in all honesty, I certainly wouldn't have my last pound anywhere. I'd save it for
Games on the second leg, Scott Taylor.
something more important.
It's one of those where you can make a case for
Everybody.
Third
all
leg,
six,
Scott to
genuinely.
Rovers.
Well, we've
Game
seen him average the same as Luke Littler.
on. 30.
We've seen Worsley tonight up until that final match average well into the 90s for the course of the session.
59.
You've got Pilgrim, who we know can play at insane levels. Owen Bates has already
99.
showed us his capability and guts when under pressure against Leonard Gates in that final. That's all six.
83.
The Super Six on a Super Saturday.
And as I mentioned to you earlier on this evening, we can look at the high numbers, and yes, some
81.
finals do get won by high numbers, but by and large, in these nervy moments, it's those players that can, when they're in the mire and they're up against it, and just your body is absolutely fit, can still come up with something
135.
tangible enough to win.
Yeah.
Could be the one that gets the pot.
And the three going through here, we've seen them all flicker, with the exception
97.
of Worsley. And a player of similar ilk who doesn't seem to rattle is Taylor. I mean, the most dynamic player
100.
is Littler for me. And he could well turn up tomorrow night and just blitz field.
100.
What we're saying is we're putting a dot, dot, dot there, and you're going to have to join us to find out the answer to the
Yes.
questions we pose.
Question marks everywhere, isn't it?
Bullseye is the question mark for
99.
Pilgrim. But the question's not answered. Now, incidentally, if Taylor wins 4-2 or better, Worsley will win the group, which has its advantages going into tomorrow night. That's a good recovery with the second dart to leave himself on double 18.
76.
Just pulled inside, and so Pilgrim returns to 25.
Game
We'll
shot the
break
third
in
leg,
2-1.
Daryl Pilgrim.
Back on throw we go.
Fourth leg, Daryl
This
to
is-
throw
It's
first.
all about,
Game on.
for me now, just maybe trying to get your mind switched on to tomorrow night. Try and
140.
replicate and feel a bit of that pressure. Just so you familiarise yourself with it, so you're comfortable when it
134.
gets underway tomorrow.
And also, don't give your opponent a head up. These two could be playing for 20 grand tomorrow night.
Yeah. And the last time you met, you want to have that W over your opponent, just so it's logged.
100.
In an occasion as big as this, the small things count.
60.
And it is a big occasion, and I hope you can join us tomorrow. Me and Mace will be suited and booted and ready to go. Going to be our own coronation at the Super Series.
91.
Yeah, we're going to crown our very own king in a church
60.
at the Live Lounge.
Daryl, you require 170.
Will it be the boy born to be king in Luke Littler?
I like it. And that's a tagline.
60. $60. Daryl, you require 110.
6 on 110 here for Pilgrim for two apiece. A double 16.
94.
Just inside, but he is going to return.
Yeah, a little bit of the fizz has gone from... I was just about to say, the
133.
fizz has gone a little from
Daryl, you require 16.
Scott's game. And then he very nearly pops in the 919s for a 171 to leave double 8.
No
Oh.
score.
Oops.
Scott, you require 54.
It's a bit like a can of 25p P Cola, where the fizz and the pop have been going up and down.
Game shot on the fourth leg, Scott Taylor.
Moves within one, has the darts to wrap things up.
Fifth leg, Scott to throw first.
Oh, Taylor a leg away
Game
from the
on.
finish line. The next time I see you, Mace, will be tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, pal, enjoy a rare lion tomorrow.
85.
I'll be in the gym.
A mic drop moment of Chris Mason is making his way up to the balcony to join Chris Murphy to assess all the play and no doubt preview tomorrow night's final. Just a reminder of the
36.
details. It's a 7:30 start on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel for the group stage action. We then have the semi-finals and final from 10 o'clock, where the action will be on Sporty Stuff TV as well as the Super Series YouTube channel.
85.
If that's not enough darts for you, well, we have plenty on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. We can catch up with all the highlights of all the sessions so far this week. Plus, if you're a fan of the big finishes, well, we have a very special video on the
137.
Super Series YouTube channel where we have a feast of fine finishing from Group A. Every single Ton Plus checkout from there is available on the Super Series YouTube channel. Don't forget to give us a subscribe across our social media platforms for more information about the MODUS Super Series. Super Darts from Pilgrim!
180.
Careful, Scott! Careful!
137.
He had that little bit of a devil in his eye, didn't he?
Scott
To
Gerard,
get
54.
the job done and win 4-1. Taylor wants 10s,
49.
but he's scratched inside the
Delta
15s, and so
Award,
Pilgrim's
20.
going to return for that exact same target. Well, how much of that can he see? He has shifted all the way across and just
score.
fails to find the target.
Scott 5.
And so Taylor returns for 5. He's 2 at double 2.
Game.
That
shot,
seals
and a match,
success for Scott Taylor. And because of the margin of the victory, it means John Worsley is going to be the group winner, pipping Pilgrim to the post in that particular department. But we're going to see the pair tomorrow night in the final at the Super Series. Scott Taylor winning our final rubber by 4 legs to 1, doing so with an 86.76 average and 50% when it came to the doubles. So the Super 6 are now confirmed. Only one session left to remain to see who's going to be the Super Series 3 champion. And to reflect upon everything we've seen tonight, let's hand over to the balcony and to Chris Murphy.
And breathe, I think, Mace, after today. There's been so much going on, but it is finally all sorted. We have our 6.
Yeah, I can't remember a more dramatic Friday, and it's quite fitting. It's the best field we've ever put together in terms of a Champions Week, and yeah, really good, really good session.
Right, let's get final confirmation of the Group B table. John Worsley winning the group in the end. Daryl Pilgrim and Scott Taylor both also finishing on 10. Mike Warburton, well, it was that one match when he lost to Mike Gillett that really cost him. Otherwise, we would have had all 4 players on 10 points.
Yeah, and they would have only been separated by leg difference. And yeah, I mean, even if he'd have won that one 4-0, when you actually look at the table now, it still wouldn't have been enough.
Who's going into finals night from this group with the most confidence? Is it Worsley, the group winner?
Yeah, he's sat over there, so I've got to be careful. Yeah, no, without doubt. I mean, up until the point where he knew he was through and he was safe, he was averaging well into the mid-90s throughout the course of tonight's session, and that can't be ignored. That's pretty much the best we've seen all week.
And as for Daryl Pilgrim, he's actually had the worst night, really, of anyone tonight. Wouldn't just one match. I mean,
Yeah, he fell into that trap where you're just chasing that one win. I did exactly the same thing in a Group C, and you sort of think, well, just the one win, and then you lose one, then you lose another, and then you start to hit the panic button as everybody else closes in on you. And once you just eventually get over the line, the adrenaline sort of leaves your body, and there's just no sort of fizz left.
It's going to look a little bit different in here tomorrow, isn't it? We've got a sell-out crowd. It's going to be a different experience for the players. Do you want to see who's in what group?
I do.
Let's have a look then. Let's find out. So, Group 1, Luke Littler, Owen Bates, a 16-year-old and the 20-year-old, and Daryl Pilgrim. And then in Group 2, the two Taylors, Jacob and Scott, and the Group B winner, John Worsley. What do you make of that?
Yeah, they're tough for different reasons. I think on performances you would expect Jacob. Well, yeah, I'd say Jacob Taylor and John Worsley to go through in that one. Scott's been a bit up and down, but that's the nature of his game. And
Andy's still sat there.
And it's very much all on the day with Scott Taylor, isn't it? I think that's where his game is. His A game is as good as anybody's. We've seen that in qualification with the 109 plus average. I think Group 1. It's dynamic, isn't it?
The speed of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the players in there, real speedsters. Right, you know I'm going to have to do this. I know John Worsley is still sat quite near us, but ignore that. Pick a winner.
Well, you know my thing about names on pot, and he shouldn't have been here. He's only here because Lucas Vennick pulled out. He really shouldn't have got through it. There's so many things happened that eventually got his qualification. I'm going for Jacob Taylor.
Interesting, right? Mace has made his choice, but the only way to find out is to tune in and watch it. It all gets underway from 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, Sporty Stuff TV, at 10 p.m. The first group games you can see on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. So that's it. Our grand final field is set. And after a game of throws, tomorrow we will crown our king.